Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Thursday Night Forum. Sorry, we were testing for this stuff.
Rookies. How long have we been doing this?
Pull up it. We've been doing it for quite a few years now. We're still rookies, but that's why maybe people love us because we are regular fans, just like you guys out there watching. Um, yeah, pull up a chair. Everyone's welcome. Come on in to the Arsenal fan circle. Boarding, flight, takeoff, all that good stuff, right, Tony? So yeah,
Yep.
welcome, Gary.
Hello, Ray. Hello, Tony. And Lonzo just got in just in the nick of time. The door almost closed. Good
We
job. Get
caught
to
the
your
flight
seat
on
and sit
time.
down. And don't you dare press that button.
Is a flight coming with refreshments, or do I have to wait to
No,
get
no,
off
you
the
get
plane?
nothing. You're last. You just got to sit
Alonzo,
there.
good of you to join. Thanks for joining, Alonzo.
He didn't pass race inspection. He had to make some last minute changes to his car. Now he's good to go.
Tony, good to see you as well. We're expecting Stan as well to join us a little bit later as well. So it is going to be a full house. And yeah, listen, I didn't know if people would be into it, but we got 10 viewers already. So people are here. They want to talk about Arsenal. We're gonna linger a little bit in the past. We're gonna look a little bit to the future. We're gonna dip our toes back into last season a little bit. Do a squad review of the last year. Um, we're going to talk about what maybe next season should be. What should our objectives be for next season? You know, we're going to talk about the transfer dealings. We might talk about Alexander Lacazette. You know, finally making a move away. So, you know, I think that experiment's over, and it's time to move on with other candidates like Gabriel Jesus or Tielemans or Zinchenko. But yeah, listen, BX gonna said finally a show. I feel like it's been ages. Evening, everyone. Well, it was 7 days since our last show here, but it has been a little bit quiet on the horizon. So hopefully, people will start making content again as the summer goes through. Steven's here.
Hopefully, hopefully
Sorry.
Arsenal starts making content.
Yeah,
Get
helping
busy
us talk
signing.
about things. Evening, everyone. Hope you're all good. Steven, good to see you. Steve Denham's here. Hi guys, I'm going to put you on TV, so I'll not be in the chat much. Um, and we are live, and that's the thing. You don't know what's going to happen live as well. Good day, fellows, from the assembled here. Steven says that's what's great about live shows. You never know what will happen. They are definitely organic, Gary, and we prepare a little bit of content here and there, but it's the fill-in stuff that people are here for and entertained by.
They're usually the one creating the fill-in material.
I've been watching past season reviews on YouTube. Great memories and insights. Uh, Why not is here. Arteta out. Cronky the F out. Sack everyone as well as Mertesacker. Sell 70% of the players.
I really am disappointed because we're gonna have. It's gonna say why not that team for another season. This is what Arteta's done to us, and Arsenal's done to us.
Yep, indeed. And Stan is here as well. Hey, Stan.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Hope
Good
everyone's
evening.
Hello.
We have reconvened for another Thursday night forum, so hopefully we can entertain you. We can have a little bit of chat. Things slow down absolutely in the summer, but we're gonna stick our toes a little bit into last season as well for the squad review. Mr. Tom has loved no football. It means no stress. International football is happening, said Tony. I've been getting
So
fax messages via carrier pigeon asking me when is the trip coming back, Gary?
It'll be back a couple times through the summer. Not as regular as it's been. So we're gonna take a little break, and also, as I told those who were on the show, we're gonna try and do like a weekend show as well. So we'll see how that all pans out. I need to do a little bit of work, background work for that, and then we'll go from
Arsenal
there.
need to do a lot of work so we can have some trips.
That's true as well.
BX
I
gonna
went
say
out.
If we get our signings right, it'll be a great season. Bring in the Brazilian contingents. So,
Gabby trifecta, yeah.
I thought we'd start off. Where do you want to start off with? A little bit of Champions League football, the playoff, or the news of the day?
You want us to run the show, or you want to run the show?
We're the co-pilots, right?
Start us off then about the Champions League final, Gary.
Yeah, I mean,
Around the house.
for anybody who watched it, I kind of feel like you got two boxes in the 12th round, basically trying to slug it out, and whoever is the healthiest, whoever makes the least amount of mistakes, is going to win. Not, I think both teams. Well, definitely the Liverpool team was dead. They had the most chances. They probably should have won it. If you get them on a healthy day, I think they win it. But I think they got worn down from battling four fronts.
Yeah,
and only able to win two. So they had it tough, and you could see it. The game was really, for me, anyways. I don't know. A lot of people thought it was as well, but the game was like really, really slow, and they did have opportunities. And once again, you get the opportunities around goal. You got to put them. I think if they could take back half of the chances they had, but have better be clinical with the ones that they did take, they would have taken that. I think the first goal for Real Madrid is the one that went in, right? So first shot on goal. So yeah, it was an ugly game. The start of it probably was the most dramatic part about it, right? We've got these fans outside stuck with tickets, little kids getting pepper sprayed, bad management from the French contingent that was running it, and then it's the excuse is just British hooligans at it again, right? That's kind of what they're trying to say, but I kind of feel like they dropped the ball to start this thing off. I mean, it's not like they had enough. It's not like they didn't have enough time to set this all up and figure out the best way
It's
to go about
supposedly
it.
due to counterfeit tickets.
Yeah, the number of tickets that they said were counterfeit was like 75% of the stadium, which is weird because the stadium was almost full. So what I don't know what the problem was. So yeah, they lie. Yeah. So
Yep.
But no, like I said, it was the play on the field wasn't what I think anybody wanted to see. They didn't see the top teams playing at their best, for sure. So I don't know what they can do to fix that. But it didn't look. I don't think it's the best finals anybody's seen in the Champions League in a while. So I think it was pretty poor in that sense. But and I guess the stats were turned against him, right? I mean, when's the last time an English team has beaten a team from a European team? It's been a really long time. So
long time. I think it's 17, and I think an English team's only won 1 in 17. Stan, what did you think of the Champions League final?
For me, it's some of it's about Carlo Ancelotti. I mean, it wasn't so long ago that it was at Everton, for Christ's sake. He's literally gone from the outhouse to the penthouse in one move. I think he's like, is he the most successful manager now that's won that trophy?
Yeah.
So, it's unbelievable. Really glad that Liverpool didn't win it, to be honest. Again, for me, it's like it seems like some of their bigger players, they seem to sort of not produce in some of the really bigger games. It's not the first time. I know that there were some good saves.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're good saves, and maybe you should have better shots. I don't know. So it was a very tepid final. But I think Madrid kind of had their hand on this trophy. The way that they kind of progressed through. I watched some of the recap and some of the results that they had. I kind of thought, though, I was saying to the missus, because she was watching a bit, that they managed to sort of do their damage in the second legs. And obviously on the night, you ain't got a second leg. So I thought maybe Liverpool might have the edge because you've got to do it all in that first 90 minutes. There's no second bite at the apple. But they pulled it out of the bag. And as I say, I'm just glad that that Liverpool didn't win it. Or else we'd be hearing about it like all the time,
Yeah. Tony, Liverpool didn't win it, and obviously you can talk about the Champions League final as well. But still winning, we'll talk about it as well if it was for Liverpool. If you feel it was a successful season for them. But Tony, your thoughts on the Champions League final?
I didn't really get to watch most of it. Most I seen of it was all the pre-game stuff, the fans waiting. They had all the Real Madrid fans in there for 35, 45 minutes before kickoff. Tons of Liverpool fans stuck waiting outside, getting tear gassed. Just poor management. Should have been sorted out quicker than that. But like Stan said, he went from a outhouse to a penthouse. Now he's won the Champions League 4 times, which is a record. So overall, I always kind of root for English teams to win, just root for the Premier League. Other than that, not much to say about it.
Tony, so Ancelotti's gone from Everton with a set of very, very poor players, hasn't been able to motivate them or do anything really, to Real Madrid. You know, he's got a good squad to work with, and he's won the Champions League. Is that maybe a sign that the players are more important than the manager or coach in the whole setup?
It's kind of a mix because sometimes, no matter the quality of players you have, they can just quit on you. Mourinho did it at Chelsea and Man United, had the players just rebel against him. He's a great player. They had decent players, good enough to go get in the top 4, compete for Champions League, stuff like that. So to me, it's kind of a mixed bag. The players have to be willing to put in the effort. They have to believe in the coach. If not, you see what happened at Everton, almost got relegated. But you have to have the players buy into the managers, the biggest thing for me on that.
Yeah. Alonso, your thoughts on the Champions League just to round out this section, and then we'll talk about that. I'll never understand the VAR check on that goal that was disallowed as well.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
When I saw that goal, I thought it was a good goal. I thought that the referees didn't really call it correctly. Though, like Tony, I really wasn't interested in the game. I just turned on the second half. I thought that pre-game shenanigans really turned it off for me. So I waited a couple minutes until the second half to see what happened. And Liverpool was just hurting. I think what Gary has said, that they are just coming in the game really hurt, really beat up. And I think it kind of shows that because Real Madrid had already won the title in April, I believe. And so I think Liverpool was still trying to chase City. So, it kind of tells you the dynamic of the leagues itself, where in Spain, they're not as competitive as the Premier League is. So there's that dynamic as well. But yeah, Ancelotti, it kind of shows you how good a coach he is, and how at Everton he kind of struggled with the players talent-wise, and at Real Madrid again shows that he's quite of a motivator, even though he has a better squad. That they're more experienced, they're the best in Spain, obviously. So yeah, it's good to also see them win the title as well. Because there have been times when they've won Champions League football, and they've been second to Barcelona at times. So yeah, it kind of shows you how the legend of Ancelotti's grown over the years.
Yeah. Fabio Capello, who LOL says BX Skinner. Stan, in the whole context of the Liverpool season, I'm going to go around the house here.
Yeah.
Would you say they had a good season, winning 2 cups and overall second in the league?
Yeah, I do. I think that when you hear like Liverpool fans phoning into talk show radio and saying, "Oh, it's been a disaster of a season," to me it just sounds. I find that to be quite arrogant. You've won 2 cups. One of them is the FA Cup, and as much as the FA Cup, it's been marginalised a little bit by its own industry. For me, the FA Cup should be the last game after the last Premier League game.
Yes.
It should be the last game of the British season. before you go off to whatever you do in the summer and that, and they remember they used to have the whole day devoted to it on the BBC. Talk to the managers, the captains, histories of the club, the fans. They have all this content. They should keep it like that. And by marginalising it, it doesn't do the cup any favours. But they've won 2 cups. They've come second. I mean, there's supporters in this league that support teams that have never won a cup ever. And see their team maybe finishing around 8th and surviving and battling to try and scrape into the Europa League. So I think it's quite arrogant to say that that's a poor season. It's quite an achievement.
Yeah. I tend to agree as well. I mean, anytime you win something, a trophy, I would call it a good season. You win the Carabao Cup, okay, there's levels to it, but you still would essentially say it's been a good season. Gary, what's your take on it? Liverpool have done amazingly well. They played every possible game they could this season as well.
Yeah, no, I think they can be disappointed in the fact that they didn't get there, right? And
sure,
they put themselves in a situation to win in both situations. They only have themselves to blame. I don't think they can blame anybody else. So they should be disappointed in it. I mean, we had opportunities to get fourth. It's disappointing that we didn't get it. It was all in our hands, and we didn't get it. So that in itself is a failure. But in terms of the season, like you said, who wouldn't want to be able to compete in all 4 fronts and have a chance to win all of them? It's really tough to do. That's why it hasn't been done on the English side, right? So, yeah, I mean, things have to fall your way, and you have to be perfect at the right time. And they just weren't in the last month of the season in the Premier League, and in the final. So yeah, I think they can. It's not a failure, but it is a disappointment, a big disappointment.
Sure.
To be able to get one of the 2 big trophies that they got to play for, and I think that's where those teams want to be, and that's why they can say it's a disappointment. They've won 2, they played for 4. They played what, 3 finals? They've won 1. That's disappointing.
They won 2, yeah.
Right, so that's probably where that comes from. The expectations are high, and they can. That's what we want. We want to be upset that we didn't get one of the big trophies in a season, and we had opportunities to do that. That's where everybody wants to get. So I think that's what we want. We keep talking about Liverpool being the standard that everybody wants to follow. Well, the way you do that is if you go out there and you have the chances to win, and when you don't win, then it's a disappointment. So definitely disappointment. Failure. It's a failure in that one particular thing, but as a season, can't say it's a failure. They finished second, so they're still in the Champions League. They're not out of the Champions League. You know what I mean? They could have lost that and not had been 5th, right? But that's not what happened.
Still qualified through the league, second place. Lost in a final in the Champions League. It's going to hurt. Of course, it hurts. But when they look at it in the cold light of day, it is, I would say, a good season.
There's one thing you guys are talking about Ancelotti, and I'm just like, did Everton screw that up, or was Everton never ever going to be able to accommodate him? You know what I mean? Like,
I think Everton is. I've said it many times. They're a team that's more poorly run than Arsenal. Obviously,
if they're poorly run, then how in the world did they pull Ancelotti to go there in the first place? That can't be a poorly run team. If you can pull a manager who's got 3 Champions Leagues to his name,
he was probably getting paid quite well to go there.
And, I get that, but it comes with that's part of the territory. You get a big time player, you get a big time manager, you pay for it, and the only way it works is if you back it up, right? With the way that so their selling game must be strong, but they're they needed to do a lot more. Could they? Are they not? Is it not possible that they could have kept him and strived for better in the league?
Gary, I believe that. I think that team that he coached was full of injuries. Also, but that's not an excuse, I guess. Whenever you have a guy like Ancelotti, he also had James Rodriguez, and that was a disaster from the get-go because he himself wasn't even motivated. So there was issues there, and it led to issues this year as well. That they had to leave it to 2 weeks of the season to go up.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's they got the best, one of the best engines in the world, and put some really worn tires on it, and basically they kept blowing out on them. So there you go.
I think with
Probably.
Ancelotti as well, he's used to being in a situation where if a James Rodriguez doesn't work, he's used to being manager of a team where he only has to look to the bench and there's another James Rodriguez that can come in. But they ain't got that at Everton. They put all their eggs in that basket, a lot of money. It didn't work. And he's got very average players to work with. I mean, I wonder what sort of a coach he is. Do you think he's out there in a tracksuit doing stuff, or do you think he has a coaching team that does all of that and he's just like in an office watching through the window? How hands-on is he? He doesn't seem like the sort of manager to me that could go into a club and build a club like what Arteta's doing. He seems more like someone that could go into a team, maybe like a Man United that's already got stars, but they're underperforming, and somehow get the best out of them, and then maybe add another 2 world-class players to come in and freshen it up.
Is that considered a good manager?
I don't know.
Because I mean, I kind of feel like
I don't know.
I think Klopp did what we would expect Ancelotti to do with Everton, right? He took a team. Yes, they had better players than Everton. They probably had a deeper bench, but he made some adjustments and he got them playing a style. Brought in some good players, and eventually you see the fruits of his labor, right? So no,
strikes me.
It's a little.
Go ahead, Gary.
Yeah, go ahead.
He strikes me as the kind of manager who just like would have a word or two to a player in their ear during training. Obviously, you got drills and all that, but those players would listen to it because he's got some gravity behind them. This is Carlo Ancelotti, who's won a lot of things and world-renowned manager. So,
I mean, if you looked at the way they got into the way they played going into the finals, you knew exactly what they were going to do. They're gonna wait you out. You're gonna have to really beat them, right, soundly. Because if you don't, and that's exactly what happened. It happened definitely in the City match. It happened in this one. Both times they just let the English team basically, and I think I said this on the watch line, just let them wear themselves out.
Karim Benzema nailed on for the Ballon d'Or now, I would say, obviously. Stephen said, does Liverpool losing the Champions League and the league change your opinion of how good the team was? No, I thought they had a very, very good season, Liverpool did. And they just, either through tiredness or, coming up against a very seasoned Real Madrid team, with Karim Benzema and Vinny Jr., they played really, really well on the night. Vinicius, yeah.
You can't spot City 12 points and expect it not to come back to haunt you eventually. Yeah. I mean, 12 points when you're how many steps below them are they? They're not that many steps, if at all, right? They're probably equal with City in terms of the type of team they are, and they spotted them 12 points. You can't do that. Right, it's like you go into a game that you're supposed to win, and you look 30 minutes in, you're down 2 goals. You might be able to get the 2 goals back, but you might also be likely to give up that 3rd goal as well, trying to get there. So that's exactly what happened, right? Just can't. They started slow, and it hurt them when they were able to make up the points. Who said? Did anybody think they were going to make up 12 points? I don't think anybody thought they would, right?
I didn't think they would. Liverpool will still win 30 games next season, says Mr. Tom. The ones they won't win will be why they don't surpass Manchester City.
See, it all depends what kind of a fan you are. If Liverpool had finished second with maybe a 10-point gap, then I can understand you thinking, well, there's a lot of work to be done. But if you push Man City all the way and you miss out just by a couple of points, are you the sort of fan that rips everything up, kicks the cat, start shouting at everything and going on Twitter annoyed? Or do you think to yourself, well, if we're only a couple of points behind them, next season we can really push them if we add maybe a couple more bits of quality? Do you know what I mean? Are you the sort of person that gets pissed off, or does it give you hope? If you're only a couple of points in, then surely you think game on for next season. Game on.
Yeah. So that means for all those Arteta outs, no. That's what Stan is saying right there. He just told you. He said all the Arteta outs. No, you cannot be disappointed. It's actually a good thing. It's what he said. Right, Stan? I'm speaking for you.
Well, yeah, basically.
because it's a similar thing, right? You had an opportunity to get where you wanted to go. You kind of failed at the end, and but there is progress. There is a you can see a belief in the players that are playing, the ones that get to play, and it should only get better if they improve with the players that they bring in. So there you go.
So we're going to get to the Arsenal stuff pretty soon, I promise you. But let's one other point on Liverpool, Tony.
Liverpool fan circle.
Liverpool fan circle. One other point, Tony. Mo Salah. What should Liverpool do with Mo Salah now? The latest thing he's holding out. He's not going to sign his contract. Maybe go to a rival club in the Premier League. Sadio Mane is going to go on, and Liverpool need to. Should they get this done with a bumper contract? For me, this has got shades of Aubameyang and Ozil.
Yeah, they pretty much already got a replacement for Mane, so all they have to worry about Salah. Salah's getting older. I want to be breaking the bank to keep him. There are other talent they can go out there and buy. They can attract the teams because they're going to be competing for the league title and Champions League title. So for me, I don't think I have much to worry about. And I didn't get to comment on the last section.
Mhm.
I think Klopp wasted way too much energy on the League Cup at the time. Like we said, they were 10 points behind, so they didn't think they were going to compete in the league. It
Yeah.
ended up being tight in the league, so if they kind of took that competition less seriously, they could have probably still won it with their B team, but instead they went with their main team because they wanted a title because they didn't think a title was coming.
I think things change as the season evolves, and we know that as Arsenal fans, we were in a position where we really should have gotten fourth place in the last 3-4 games of the season. Things change, and Klopp probably prioritized the Carabao Cup, get a cup on board, then the FA Cup. He was playing the B team a lot in the FA Cup, and the league. Yeah, you're right. The league seems so unattainable, but as things evolved, hindsight's 2020. Hindsight's a great thing, But Jesus, BX Gunner says Jesus, Richarlison, Tielemans, and Chenko would be sweet. Not a bad lineup there, Gary. We'll get into that in a little bit as well. But Gary, Mo Salah, what should Liverpool do?
The same thing that we have going on with some of our players, right? They're not going to sign, and you have a process that you go through. The only thing you can do is sell them because you can't afford to let them walk, especially if that's part of the way that you do your business. So, and you know what? I don't know how long they've been there, 5 or 6 years. They wanted a change, and they have an opportunity to do that. I think if they had won one of those big trophies, maybe it'd be easy to just stay another year or can just, extend, right? It's a little sour to miss out on those two opportunities, but that's all on everybody there at the squad. So yeah. Now I think they have to sell him if he doesn't want to. He doesn't. Teams need to be in control. If not, then you just have a revolving door of your best players leaving every 2, as it gets close to that 2-year period. So it makes no sense to do that in this day and age.
As Tom says here, Gary, his performance since February has not been great. So are these the signs of a player that's slowing down? Mo Salah.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a lot of money, like you said, for somebody who. Why is he worn down? Was he playing those extra games that you guys are saying he shouldn't have played? Or is he just getting old? Yeah,
AFCON as well.
Yeah, some of the best teams let their best players go before everybody else thinks they should, right?
Yeah.
That's that's what they need to do, or they need to reload, right? Do we have a replacement for Salah? I mean, they know they got Luis, they got Jota, right?
There's players out there, Rafinha maybe, players who would go.
Yeah. So I mean, they have options, and the faster they move, the faster they can get to those new players that can bring, give them the. They won't miss a beat, right? We're feeling like you said, if he goes there, he'll be having a lot of fun with the way they're structured. So yeah. I think
Yeah.
they should. I think they have to let him go if he doesn't want to stay, and they're not going to want to spend all that money either.
Cash in. Saka and Martinelli are Liverpool targets, says BX Gunner. Alonso, Mo Salah, and we're going to get to Arsenal pretty soon. Mo Salah, should Liverpool sell him?
I mean, I'm not a Liverpool fan, so I could care less. But I mean, on proper price for him, I mean, Liverpool would be smart to sell him to a team not in the Premier League. Maybe Barcelona, maybe would be Bayern Munich, maybe Real Madrid or a team in Italy. But like, why would you want to sell a star player of his caliber to a rival? And that's rumored that he wants to go to Man City or Chelsea, right? So
Yeah, Premier League rival, yeah.
it should make sense to sell him there because he could destroy he could come back and haunt you. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
we've been used to that in the past with our own players we sold to our own rivals. So yeah, I mean, if I were Liverpool, I'd try to sell him to a team in Spain, Italy, or France or Germany. So yeah, get the most money from there.
Hmm.
But someone would buy him, obviously.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
Why not set Mane's position as more vital at FC than Salah's? I think Mane wants to, try football in another country and sort of build his legacy as well, being an African footballer. Stan, what's your thoughts on Mo Salah? I know, we're just looking from the outside in, right?
How old is he now?
30,
29?
29, 30.
You're basically putting him on sort of like Kevin De Bruyne money, and I think the output is just as good as what you would get from Kevin De Bruyne. If you're going to replace him, you're going to be spending a lot of money to try and replace him with someone that gives you the numbers that he does. I think he's a fantastic player.
Mm-hmm.
The numbers that he puts up consistently.
Yeah.
He may have taken a little bit of a slump at the moment, but he's played a lot of games. So I'd probably be inclined to do something like maybe a 2-year contract with an option on a third. I think he'd still get good numbers out of him for another couple of seasons. It still gives you room to maneuver at the end of the next season. If you think maybe there's time to change, you're still in the driving seat to command a decent transfer fee. If the time's on your side, and I think he said that he will still be a Liverpool player next season. Mane seems to be the one that wants to try other things elsewhere.
Yeah.
They're both great players, and if you lose both of them in one foul swoop, in one go, it could be difficult to replace. Get the numbers.
Yeah. I think personally the plan was always to maybe one of these players would move on in the summertime because.
Can I just say as well, because I know that a lot of people have been talking about Serge Gnabry, who's being made available at Bayern Munich, where Mane wants to go. Well, it could be going to. They're talking about around about £40 million, which is quite conservative for Gnabry.
Yeah.
But do you think that maybe somebody like Gnabry could be used as a make weight in getting Mane coming the other way from Liverpool?
Yeah, I'm sure Liverpool will be trying to work that angle for sure.
I mean, it would sort of it would suit both sides, wouldn't it? I don't know what the players wants to do, but you'd think from both sides they both get what they want. I mean, Gnabry would be a good replacement to come in.
They pretty much already have a replacement. I can't remember what player it is, but the deal's pretty much done for
Liverpool.
Right winger, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They've already got a replacement.
At the Gnabry level?
Yeah.
Probably not, right? I mean, it's
not much.
If there's somebody better than Gnabry and we don't know the name, that would mean.
I can't remember who it was.
But like I said, if you don't know if you can't even know, you don't know the name, and Gnabry is available, I don't know where. For me, I know name recognition isn't everything, but it isn't like he isn't a good player out there, and anybody would be happy to take him. So for me, is it a Diaz thing where I didn't know Diaz, but I think a lot of people did and knew he was going to be a good guy, right?
Diaz, yeah.
Yeah, so. But
And
yeah,
Diaz coming in was going to be the plan in the summertime. They had to get him because other teams were going to take him. And
are they good? Tony, you talking about the player they couldn't get in January? Is that the one you're talking about? I forgot who the name of that player. That it was like a last minute, like they didn't get the paperwork done in time, so they had to.
It's the Villarreal player.
Mm.
Didn't know that. Didn't know Mane was on that.
the Chukwueze. Chukwueze.
Bless
I
you.
don't think he's at a level of a Gnabry for me.
No.
If
Nope.
that's the guy, I don't
Agreed.
think it's the name the guy though. I don't think it's
Agreed.
The player.
Did you know that Mane's on 100 grand a week, and
I didn't know that.
other doctors are asking, getting more money? Shambles, weak structure, weak business, and even
See, if he's going to be available on a free, if he's running his contract at Mane, then he's laughing, isn't he? He knows now that he will go somewhere and probably get 400 grand a week. No transfer fee. He's on as little as 100 now.
I saw Diaz in the Copa America, who's excellent, but I had no idea who he is. And that's lending weight to Tony. Tony probably saw someone, but he has no idea.
I've never heard of him.
That's why Mane is gone, because he's going to cash out. Gnabry wasn't good enough for West Brom, though. Yeah, many years ago. He's almost 30 and needs to be rewarded. I think that is to do with Salah.
Thing about
if
Gnabry. Sorry, go on, Gary.
No, I was just gonna say, if you look at the top players are all 29 and up. I mean, outside of Trent and Jota, everybody else is at 28 to 30 range. So that is pretty old in football, especially when your core players are at that age, right? And their backups aren't there yet, right? Or else they probably could have used them, and then you wouldn't have seen a worn down team at the end. So I kind of feel like they need to, like you said, they're going to need to kind of push some guys out. Sorry, Stanley, you were going to say?
I was just saying that. You know what? I think that the Gnabry thing to Arsenal has got could. It's not an outside possibility, because a couple of reasons. The fee is around 40 million. They're always very conservative, aren't they, from the Bundesliga? So that's very doable. Yeah. He didn't leave in a bitter way. You know, he still talks very fondly about Arsenal. He doesn't like, oh, yeah, those bastards that pushed me out when I before I wanted to make it. He's always photographed in Arsenal tops, and he's already won the Champions League, so he's not chasing that. You know, he's at a stage now where he could be looking at helping a team progress. He's already achieved that goal of winning the Champions League.
And he does have fondness for Arsenal. He did say if he would come back to England, it would be at Arsenal as well. But Europa League is a little bit of a stumbling block. If a player is willing,
but he's won the Champions League. That's the thing, right? He's won that. He's ticked that off his list. So you know, he's a goal machine and an assist monster. You know, if that could happen, that should be the top of the Arsenal's list. You know, if they want to win favour with the fans as well, bringing someone home like that, I mean, it's a win-win for everybody.
I think right now we would probably frame it as being a bit of a long shot to get Serge Gnabry to the Emirates.
Yeah. I was just looking at his site, and it says Salah is at £225 a week. So I'm not sure if the £100 is. I mean, who knows what they.
That was Mane,
I
think. Yeah,
Mane is at 200, so they're both in the 200 range. So.
Yeah, and you know, Arsenal, being from London, do pay higher wages. The fans, unfortunately, pay the biggest prices for the tickets as well. The Assemble is a question we can really quickly go around. Do you believe Arsenal are going to get above fifth during Arteta's reign? Gary?
Yes.
What's up? Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
it's got to be.
He has no choice, or else there won't be a reign, all right?
Yeah,
it will end pretty quickly. It should end like it would be a year and a half, so he would have 18 months to figure it out, if that. If he doesn't get it this year and next year he struggles, then I think it's time to move on. But in reality, he should get it this year, or he should be gone. So.
Yeah. Tony, do you believe Arteta will get hired in fifth?
depends how serious he takes Europa and everything else. I think with squad's too thin if he's focusing on other cups. If he focuses just on the league, yeah, we can maybe get top four. But
Do you believe it?
focus?
Yes or no?
Probably not.
No.
No,
Okay,
Arteta.
Alonso, do you believe Arteta can get higher than fifth?
I believe so. I think that he could be. He could even take top three if he wants to, because we were so close to catching Chelsea at one point in the season. We just didn't have enough depth. We didn't have enough coaching experience to handle that pressure. And yeah, I mean, I think that there's no else. There's nowhere else to go but up. So the improvement is there. It's a matter of the motivation and confidence that they have going to the season. So yeah, I mean, even third's manageable at this point. So
Yeah. Yeah, there is two teams, City and Liverpool, taking the first two spots. Stan, I believe he can get better than fifth. I think the best team can get better this summer as well.
Well, it's like what I said earlier about Liverpool. Had we finished in fifth this season and the gap to fourth was 10 points, you'd be scratching your head a little bit. But we literally missed out on it by, the width of a cigarette paper. So with the investment that comes this summer, I believe if that money is spent wisely, that we can capitalize and do better than what we did this season. So yes.
Yep. Okay. Well, let's get off Liverpool. We've been talking about Arsenal for a few minutes now. Congratulations to Nottingham Forest. They're back in the Premier League. I kind of was hoping Huddersfield would come back in because maybe it's an easier 2 games for us next season, and Nottingham Forest are going to be a tough proposition coming up. Gary,
if we're concerned about promoted teams, challenging us, then yeah, we got a big problem. Brentford should hopefully be a blip. That should never happen again. But like I said, it should be a blip. Should be. I think that game's similar. Can't remember how entertaining it was. There was, and I think it was a pattern in the last 2 games, right? VAR officiating poor.
And English refs, VAR and English refs.
So I think they've tainted the sport and still. I mean, what did they say? It's like a £200 million match, and they don't have proper people officiating it. Right, the referees there are poor. Until the teams don't seem to be too bothered by it. Right, the one team who lost is bothered by it, but everybody else is probably just, got their head in the sand kind of thing. And it's punished. They're all getting punished by it. Why can't Why can't they request better? I don't know. They don't seem to want better for that part. It's hurting the league.
Anyone else want to comment on the Nottingham Forest promotion?
Yeah, I'm glad they're back. They were a big team when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Ryan Clough and was that two European trophies. I always remember as well. They were the first team to buy the first £1 million player, Jerry Francis. Do you remember?
Jerry Francis, yeah.
I remember that in the newspapers as well.
Yeah.
But one thing about something that I just recently found out, I was always led to believe that Nottingham Forest were the reason that we play in red and white, that they supplied us with a kit. An old story that I heard from many different places, but I found out last week that that's not the case.
Really? Because I thought that was the case myself.
Yeah, I was talking about it on Burkamp Wonderland, and Danny said no. It turned out that it's an old wives' tale. It's not the case. But yeah,
I thought the best was that they were already trolling City with their 2 European trophies versus City's 0.
Poor Pep sat in the corner, still trying to get one Champions League trophy.
I don't know why. Every time I think of Nottingham Forest, the first player that comes to my mind is Steve Stone.
Yeah, I've got Psycho. Stuart Pearce.
Hey Stan, you know who I think of whenever I see Nottingham Forest?
Who's that?
Lord Bettner.
Lord Bettner.
Yeah, man.
Why not? That's incorrect. He bangs goals for club and country. Gabriel Jesus. Listen, I think we're going to talk about our gaps through this squad review. We're going to talk. We're going to see what our gaps have been this season, and we'll quickly realize if we didn't know already that a striker in the summer and a decent midfielder or two, we could probably boost ourselves up by about 10 or 15 goals next season, and be more competitive for top four. Gary, let's start off with goalkeepers. Going to get into squad review now. So, what was your thoughts on the goalkeeping for Arsenal? We'll go goalkeepers, defenders, midfielders, wingers, strikers. So start us off
Yeah.
with goalkeepers.
Well, I didn't think we needed to make a change coming into the season. I figured they would keep it because if you can get better all around him, it will just bring the team up. So it bring the floor up. All we did, I think, by bringing in Ramsdale, yes, we got a little bit better, but we didn't really fix the big holes that were in the team. And they came back to haunt us. And he ended up getting worn down anyways, right? I think many will say the way that he performed in the last month or so of the season, he struggled just like the rest of the team. So I think it didn't really help. And that's partly because of rotation, probably. You know, everybody said, you know what, you're not in Europe, so you'll be fine. One game a week. Well, you saw what happened, right? The entire team did not look like they could handle one game a week or whatever we were doing at that point. So I kind of feel like we still need, the problems that we had, we fixed. But Ramsdale, and when he first came in, I think that first half of the season, really, really good. Brought a lot of fire to the team. I like him going after the fans. That was great. And that kind of started to disappear in the second half, right? And I think that's when his performances also kind of dipped. So you can tell how he's feeling by whether or not he's chatting it up with the fans and the behind him, right? So I kind of felt like, yeah, and he's still young. He'll learn from that. I mean, I was a little disappointed that he seemed to always get beat on the small side of the goal. That he would, he always seemed to get beat there.
Near post.
The near post, yeah. Sorry, my nomenclature is not good, but yeah, he seemed to get beat there.
Translated it for you.
Thank you. I went from American to proper football.
Don't worry, Gary. My missus says the same thing.
But no, I kind of feel like those are things. Hopefully, he works on because that's going to set him, put him up there with some of the best goalkeepers in the league, and he's doing a good job as it is. So I'm happy he's here. I think, along with that, Leno should have been gone. I always thought that if you can't have two starting goalkeepers, we should have gotten a decent. Could have been sold him. Now it sounds like nobody even wants Leno for $8 million, which for me sounds a bit like a slap in the face.
Yeah.
Like,
Really?
Yeah, Benfica. I think
we are finding it tough to get a decent price
He's
for him.
He's a starting goalkeeper. He is not. He is not a backup.
Do you think that's because it's not so much that they don't think that he's worth that amount? It's that the money's not out there.
He's a starting goalkeeper. He is a starting goalkeeper in world football. If he's not worth $8 million, then what's going on?
Maybe they can't afford it. Though. That's the thing. Because I don't think that maybe
in the world. You're telling me that not. So has Arsenal spent 24 on Ramsdale?
I thought Newcastle were interested in and I think wasn't it the last window Newcastle were interested, but he was like, well, at that point they were still fighting relegation, right? And he was like, well, but now that they're safe, maybe they'll go back for him. I thought there was
yeah. I mean, I kind of feel like that. I don't know if that is, like you said, the monies that teams don't have. Or teams realizing, you know what, Arsenal has to get rid of him. I'm not paying top dollar to Arsenal for any of their players, because why should I? Right? I think we put ourselves in a situation that seems that they can get the best of us, and that can't be. Leno is a starting goalkeeper. I keep saying it until somebody tells me he's not.
First, there has to be a need. First, there has to be a team that needs a starting goalkeeper that's not happy with their starting goalkeeper right now. Secondly, there has to be the revenue to go and buy him. So,
is he better than? Like, I mean, I'm sorry, Mr. Tom, but is he better than Leeds goalkeeper?
He's quite good, that keeper.
Well, Mr. Tom,
I know, but he's young, right? So Leno's a little bit more experienced. So would he do better? I'm not sure. I kind of feel like I believe he's better than the way he's being portrayed in the market.
Yeah. I think as much as we're gonna hate to say this, the transfer window is a game of poker, and teams are gonna wait out. Much like Real Madrid waited out Liverpool, teams are gonna wait out us on Bernd Leno.
I get the impression that the Premier League, they fucking noticed the Iwobi deal that we did, and they're like,
You
"How the
never again.
You fucking slipped one by us, man, but that shit ain't happening
Yeah.
again." Do
They
you know
don't.
what I mean?
They can't laugh at
Again.
us for that one, right?
These teams seem to know our players more better than we know our players.
Yeah.
You know.
No, see, Mr. Tom, you're saying Meslier made more saves in the league. That's what Ramsdale was doing when they said he was crap.
Or
He had the most
was
goals
that
that he had
picking him
to
out of the
defend.
back of the net? Was he saving him from?
If you're making the most saves, it's because there's fucking you got nothing in front of you.
So,
You know what I mean?
but I'm not saying he's not a good goalkeeper. It just means, I don't know. I feel like Leno would be better, but
What makes a good goalkeeper is you could get, if you've got a team that's got a weak defense and you've got a goalkeeper that's constantly having to make saves, it can make you think that you've got a good goalkeeper. What makes a good goalkeeper, I think, is when you're controlling the game for 60 minutes or so and your goalkeeper hasn't had to do jack shit, and all of a sudden there's a turnover and he's got to be on it right there and then for that one thing that might happen and make the save.
Yeah,
And
concentration. Be there. Be ready.
I think it happened with us with Bernd Leno. We had a period where Bernd Leno was making a lot of saves for us because we didn't have a lot going on in front of us. But give it 65 minutes when he's not had to do something and it all happens. Is he going to be alert and ready? That's what makes a good goalkeeper, I think.
Yeah.
Stan, since you're talking, do you want to speak about the goalkeepers, Ramsdale as well?
Yeah, I will.
I thought he already has.
I was going to get to you, Tony.
I haven't, Tony. So, pipe down. I was a big fan of Leno when we got him. I thought the money that we paid for Leno, I think it was around about £25 million or euros. I thought was good value. Thought it was really good. I mean, there was that one season where, again, you couldn't put a cigarette paper between him or Aubameyang as our best player of the season. They both pulled us through one season. So when we went out and we bought Ramsdale, I was really surprised because we spent around about the same amount of money. And I thought, hold on, what's going on here then? And I didn't know much about Ramsdale other than he'd been in relegation battles. But what I've seen of him is he's obviously got a strong character because he got slated and slaughtered by a lot of fans before he'd even put a shirt on for us. And look at him now. Look how he's managed to win people over. Says a lot about the guy's character. I did think towards the end of the season that there could have been a shout for him being taken out for some time and maybe Leno getting another game. The only reason where maybe Mikel didn't do it is because Leno's not essentially fighting to be number one. We all know that he's probably going to be leaving, so you don't want Ramsdale to think that you got no confidence in him. But I think had we had a number two that was maybe trying to push, Ramsdale I think was a little bit off of his form towards the end of the season.
But you're supposed to rotate your players anyways, especially when you as a manager see that they're struggling. Like we see it in the game, when by the time that the fans see it, it's too late. Going into practice, going into the end of a game, how your players are. If you know them, you pull them, right? You rotate them around just sort of give them a little breather.
And when Leno came in, when he thought Ramsdale was slightly injured or out, he came in for that one game. It was fantastic.
Did good. Yeah, I just De Gea I don't like that team, but De Gea has saved them points many times, especially against us. I mean, and he's making saves where we're like, most goalkeepers aren't going to stop him, but he's having a whale of a game, right? And that's his goal. The goals that he's stopping aren't the ones that are just little dribblers to him. He's like the balls that are stinging his hand, and he's doing really, and he's pissing us off, right? So that's the goal. That's the goalkeeping that you want to have, right? Ones that's saving you points.
Yeah.
When you're having a bad day.
Tony, I'll get you in here now, Tony. Why not said Ramsdale, pleasant surprise. He's competent, mostly flaps, sometimes under pressure. Next season is his make or break season. And Stephen goes on to say, we set ourselves up for this by selling Martinez, Guendouzi, Mari, and others at well below market value. They are just following Arteta and Edu's lead of a team that is desperate to unload players.
We sold Martino is way above his. He's worth 1.3 million before we started playing him. So
Yeah.
we did good.
We did good there with Martinez, yeah. At a time when maybe many would have wanted to keep him, but we won't resurrect that argument. But Ramsdale's been pretty good this season. He's had a couple of stops, a couple of notable saves for us, especially the Leicester City game away from home.
Yeah, there's a couple of his saves that were up for save of the season, deservedly so. To me, he came in. All the fans were like, no, he's not good enough, too much money. Nice to see egg on their face. And he was doing very well until Tierney went out. Then I don't know what happened. Like communication just broke down in the back. Because earlier in the season, he had 14 clean sheets. We were talking what the record was for a season in the Premier League was for clean sheets because we thought he might have a chance to get it. But things just went downhill after Kearney went out. I think we really don't know his level yet. He did good for most of the season. But we're going to see him for a full season. We'll see what he'd see in the next season.
Yeah.
Like he said, it's make or break. But to me, he's a good signing. He's got the vocal that Leno was missing. Going back to Leno, I think problem with him the previous season before this season was the revolving door at the back four we had 35 different lineups in a back four. I don't know how you expect your keeper to do good with that many people rotating in and out around him, especially when your keeper's not vocal. There's Alonso back. But to me, Leno, I wish we could get more money for him. Transfer market only has him at $9.5 million. Only got a year left on his contract. So, yeah, the peak of him was $33 million. I think it's just because he has a year left and he didn't play any this year.
Yeah, and look, we're after a player called Tielemans who last year would have been 50 or 60 million, and now the price is 25 or 30 million.
Yeah, but he's shit in goal though.
Yeah, pretty shit. He probably puts gloves on in training.
Can I just say one thing about our goalkeepers that
Yeah.
if we are going to bring in a backup goalkeeper, which looks like we are, I don't want it to be someone that's got less experience than Ramsdale. I don't want it to be a young kid. You know, I want it to be somebody who's maybe got a few years left towards the end of their career that understands that Ramsdale is the main man, but this person has maybe been around a little bit, played in a few different leagues, and can help Ramsdale. You know, not just on the pitch, but off the pitch as well. I think it's really important that the profile of the backup keeper is fits that kind of mold.
Well, isn't Matt Turner an experienced
Turner.
goalkeeper?
Not a more experienced than.
Well, right, but my point being is that he can push Ramsdale, and he can.
How old is Matt Turner?
In his late 20s, I believe. Maybe
his late 20s. That's pretty old, right?
I forgot about it. But he sounds like
he's behind Stefan, right?
No, he played.
Stefan's healthy, then he's behind him.
He
right?
played yesterday.
Who the hell's Stefan?
Zach Stefan.
The Zach Stefan from Man City played in the FA Cup that was beaten by the.
Where are we getting Matt Turner from? Are we getting him from an American team?
Yeah.
New England Revolution.
Did I see somebody say Foster is available? And
that was why not? And I think he was joking.
No, but I mean, no. I saw this. I saw a lot of people chatting about it in the socials.
Yeah, he put himself out there, didn't he? Saying that he'd love to, so he could do more podcasts with Ramsdale.
Yeah, we need to get our numbers up, man. Especially on the goalkeeping side, we're just a little bit. Ramsdale doesn't do enough work there. So if you're looking at it from the marketing side of things, why not?
Well, Stephen said Martinez was valued at well below what he was really worth. He had been playing well since his Reading loan. It was just nobody was paying attention, including Arsenal, which says everything.
How long was he in Arsenal?
Many years.
7 seasons. 7 seasons.
We're not starting that again, are we?
No, we're not starting that again. We're moving on. We're moving on. Alonso, Aaron Ramsdale. What are your thoughts on the goalkeepers? You can talk about Bernd Leno as well. We'll round up the goalkeeping section then and get into the defenders.
I thought Ramsdale in his first year at Arsenal was kind of mixed emotion, I guess. I think that he could have done a lot better towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
He does have strengths and he has weaknesses, and one of them being is he communicates well. He gets upset whenever the team isn't doing that good in front of him, but he does lack awareness. He lacks. He gets down on himself too much. I think when he gets the first goal in, and there are moments of greatness and there's moments of defeat.
Yeah.
I think that whenever we were not doing that good, he just kind of lost control of himself. But he's young, and he'll still he'll learn from his mistakes. And I think I'm excited for him. I think that there's a lot in that player. I think Ramsdale can do a lot for himself. I mean, he's still young, and he's learning, and he's at Arsenal, so he'll get that experience and learn from it, and he'll grow. I think with Bernd Leno, I think the few games he played this season, he kind of showed his worth. I forgot what game he played that he won. It was the Wolves?
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa.
That's
Yeah,
right.
so he can still do a job. Unfortunately, he's not going to compete with Ramsdale. So yeah, I think overall, Ramsdale can still use some work. I think Matt Turner coming in is going to help him out a lot as far as competition goes. And Matt Turner's been used a lot, I think, with Robla and these league games. So yeah, I think the future is bright for both of them.
Can I ask, is Matt Turner the number one keeper from the team that he was coming from?
He was.
Yeah, he was just injured. I think that's the only reason why he wasn't playing.
And where is he in the American pecking order for goalkeepers?
I think he's competing for the starting position right
Yeah.
now.
Oh, okay.
I
Not bad.
think Zach Stefan is kind of shooken up right now. I think he's lost focus, Stan. So
Has he ever won the league in America? Has his team won the league?
I don't believe so. Don't believe so.
But he's a very good goalkeeper from what I've heard, and from what I've seen. He's a very good penalty stopper as well.
What we're going to have is a very established pecking order. Aaron Ramsdale will be number one, and Turner will be number two. But the competition will be there. I think Bernd Leno really wants to try to get on that World Cup roster. World Cup. He wants to get back in the team and on the plane to.
Did he not get picked for this little tournament thing that's coming up? No? Is he not in the England squad for this little... There's a tournament, isn't it? The Nations. He is in that. He's in the squad.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Probably third.
Okay.
As Steven said here, Ramsdale is still young as a keeper. The older and more experience he gets, the better he will be.
Oh, it's Jordan Pickford, though, isn't he? Jordan Pickford's quite young.
Yeah. And Ramsdale hasn't ballsed anything up this season. You know, the way you would think a young goalkeeper might show himself up, he hasn't really ballsed anything up. And maybe the focus has been...
Just that one time. One time he did.
Which one?
I can't remember. It's just pretty much a complete gift for the other team.
So there's a right winger that Liverpool is going to buy, but you can't remember him. And then there's a balls up that Ramsdale had, but you can't quite remember that either.
I don't remember a fucking VRL player's name. Sorry, Ray.
It's all a bit hazy for Tiny at the minute.
Yeah, no, this is
like haze.
Can't really see what's going on.
He hasn't had a shocker. Let's just say that, Tony. He hasn't thrown one in the net. Why not says nothing against Americans or America. Timmy Turner and trust the process. Not it. Turner's competent, but he isn't pushing anyone anywhere apart from off the bed.
Hey, relax, man.
That's true. I mean, you need a squad full of players who are going to push number one and aspire. But What are we going to do?
We need somebody with my surname, right? That's all we need.
Are we going to get into another Martinez?
That's actually a problem
Leno?
in itself, isn't it, Tony?
No?
No.
Are we going to get into another Martinez Leno power
Oh, please,
struggle?
no.
for the
No.
number one shirt?
No.
You know, like
Is that what you want, Ray?
no. I mean, you want competition, but you have to pick the right players. I'm not saying I'm.
You know what?
Really
The only place you really can't do that is goalkeeper. Everywhere else on the pitch, if you know that you're having a bad day and you look at the bench, there's a guy there who wants to take your spot. That's what you want, right? Goalkeeper makes it. You know,
Ramsdale needs a big brother figure. Someone who can put his arm around him, who knows his place, who plays the cup games, you know. But as you know,
So why not Ben Foster then?
This guy
They already have a
Turner's
relationship.
international stuff, and you know he obviously knows about preparation. I think maybe this Turner guy could. I'm open to that. I'm open to that. He's a bit older.
Well, we shall see what happens. We don't know how this is going to develop. There's going to be plenty of games. Turner is going to get some games in the Europa League maybe as well. Let's move on, Tony. We'll move on to the defenders. We'll go to Tony because Tony has been a little bit critical of the defenders this season. So let's get you started in there, Tony.
Does that mean Tony be starting first for midfield, wingers, and also forwards? Because he's been
No, I'm
critical
going
of
to try
them
and switch it up.
He's been critical of everything.
No, I was critical.
I'm joking.
For the 90 million we spent, we ended up conceding 9 more goals.
Yeah.
So.
And there is context. There is context to that, Tony. I mean, we couldn't really have established fullbacks play in the majority of the season.
Moot point.
Yeah, but we didn't have, like last season, we didn't have 35 different freaking lineups of a back four. That's just insane. This year, we didn't have near as many. We know Tierney's injury proof. We should have went and got somebody a little bit better than Tavares as a backup. He's not
for the numbers, there's a reason behind the numbers, right? Last season, we weren't good. This season, we had no depth. We both contribute to where we are. So I think, like, you know, everybody said if we were healthy, which is a big if for everybody, if you're healthy, if you're not tired, blah, 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 but you don't have the depth. That's the problem. So
I think we did have the depth, but maybe the depth wasn't backup quality.
that's not depth then.
Do you know what I mean? Because Cedric,
Because you have someone on the bench. Yeah, Di
Cedric's
Patino on the
supposed to
bench.
play-
You're not playing him. That's not depth.
I know, but Cedric's supposed to be able to play both sides. You've got Tavares, who was brought in as a backup. He wasn't brought in to go out on loan straight away. He was brought in as a backup.
Yeah.
So that's the depth, right?
But, yeah.
Holding
Gary's-
is
what
the backup
Gary's
for the
saying-
centre backs.
Well, what Gary's saying is you bring in a backup left back or backup right back, and they were not good enough stat.
Yeah.
And
And you know, and backup
You
to
know?
me
That-
isn't what we need, right? We need somebody who can actually come in and support the starters, right, and push them, right? We just talked about that,
Wow.
right? You need somebody like a backup. A backup is what El Neni is. Break glass when needed, right? We have nobody else. We got to put him in. He's going to give you
a backup
he's going to give you spot duty for a couple of games,
Well-
but you can't lean on him. Whereas we need players that we can lean on for more. Like if a player goes out for the whole season, we're not that bad off, right?
Can I
We
just
only
say
have
that?
3 or 4
Are we-
backups.
Are we in
Dan-
a place as a football team where we're like a Man City, where we have a first 11 that we all love? You know, we know who they are when everybody's fit. But then if anyone in that position is not available, whether it be a right back, left back, or centre back, is the guy coming in a backup, or is it somebody of equal quality that could be fighting for that place? Because that's where you want to be.
It's a backup.
That's where you
It's a
want to
backup
be,
except
right?
for
The second
Leno and
one-
Leno.
the second option that I gave was where you want to be. I'm just thinking that Arsenal aren't in that position yet where we can afford to maybe have quality players that are, you know, like 2 players for every position. So we have to be more canny and have backups. Unfortunately, the backup at left back, Tavares, it's shown that there's a lot of work that needs to be done there. There's some good things about him, but there's also some nightmare stuff about him. Can he be relied upon if Tierney is going to be out for a quarter of the season or half the season? compared to having a left back like Tierney, who's going to be in for most of it, who you can rotate out in certain games and bring in the backup. Do you see what I mean? I don't think that we're quite in a place yet where we're going to be able to have two quality players for every position, where they're fighting to get into that spot. We've barely got a first 11.
For me, Sambi and Tavage, Nuno, they're not what Arsenal needs right now. Those are projects, right? We don't need that. We have more than enough projects to deal with as is.
Well,
you bring
sorry,
in.
Here's the thing.
They're squad players, not backup players.
They are projects, but now that we have European football, they can play in the group stages of the Europa League, and we can still get through. Yes, I agree with you saying they're projects, but they are part of the squad now.
No, I'm not saying now, but I'm just saying if we're talking about what we needed to bring, we needed to bring in some quality. We knew going into this season, Partey and Tierney aren't giving you 38 games a season. We knew
I don't
that.
think Arsenal bought Sambi as a project, though. I mean, he was captain at
Well,
Anderlecht.
their analysis is wrong, right?
Alonso, are you there?
Sambi and Tavage aren't ready to play in the Premier League.
Yeah. Alonso, what's your thoughts on the defense and the backup and the depth and our defense?
Yeah, I really like Tomiyasu. I think that I'm really big on him because he brought so much when he was healthy. There's like a fresh breath there, right? And how we got him was kind of a secret, and he performed at a high level. Go ahead, Stan. What's so funny?
I was just laughing at you.
Why not? We need a backup to the backup to the backup to the backup.
I wasn't saying that though. I'm driving you mad. So I was just going.
And he did a good job. I mean, as deputizing Tomiyasu.
Yeah.
As far as Rob Holding coming in and being English, it's kind of cool, because we kind of lacked that superstar in the making English center back for a very long time. Because we had standards with Holding
English backbone, We had it with Tony Adams, we had it with Martin Keown. And now we got.
Can I just say, we all agree, right? Tomiyasu is our right back. We all seem to like him. He seems to settle in well. He's good going forward, good going back.
Yeah.
But if he's in the red and there's a dead rubber game coming up, is Cedric really that bad that he can't come in for a game?
No,
that's where we are, right? Because we don't want Cedric to come in for 3 months. So we're hoping, we got our fingers crossed that Tomiyasu don't break nothing where he's out for. But to take in and out, yeah. But this is the gamble where we are as a team. If we have a problem, like with Tierney, and Tierney gets another muscle injury and he's out for, 9 weeks, then what do you do? Because Tavares, maybe to bring him in and out and play cup games and stuff like that, I get that. But Tavares to come in for 9 weeks, no. We got a problem there. But it's a fine line because we're not in a place where we can afford to have 2 quality players for every position fighting for the role. Yeah. And I say that because we haven't got a first 11 yet. We haven't got a striker. We're light in midfield. So until we get the first 11, that's the point that I'm trying to make. What I'm saying is, if Tomiyasu has to be rested, is Cedric really that bad for 1 or 2 games? He had a good little run at some points, but you saw the longer the run went on, then you started to see the foibles in his game creeping in, right?
The thing that is dangerous if Tomiyasu plays 21 games in the league and Tierney plays 21 games in the league. Now you've got like 17 games or 15 games that Tavares is going to play or Cedric's going to play. And as you're talking about, Stan, without even talking about central defenders right now, our fullbacks have been causing us some goals, leaking some goals. And for them to play that long, we are going to be affected. The numbers are there,
So back to my point. Yeah, I mean, I think that with Gabrielle, I think what hurt Gabrielle is not having a proper lift back because you saw also, and Ben White also has weaknesses as well, but Gabrielle, you saw more weaknesses than you did with Ben White because Tavares was ahead of him and you saw the weaknesses that they had issues at that left spot, at the left part of their defense because Tavares was making so many mistakes, where Tierney
Yeah,
was not making mistakes.
exposing Gabrielle.
Even Gabriel, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that was a big issue for me as far as the season goes. And like Stan said, you need a very proper deputy to Tierney because it just got blown up really bad at some parts of the season.
I'd even go as far as to say with what Alonso was just saying that Gabriel and Ben White, as he said about Gabriel not having somebody seasoned next to him on the left, I think that Gabriel and Ben White suffer from not playing with a more seasoned, either one of them. They're both good as individuals. They're both very good. But I don't see how they're learning their game being next to one another because they're at a similar place in their progression. Do you see what I'm getting at? And that worries me that they're not got someone who, when they pull a bit of a ricket, can help them out in the game and get them through it. They're looking.
They got Rob Holding, Stan.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. But and then you think about, on top of that, as much as I love William Saliba, again, he still needs guidance himself. Do you know what I mean? He's not going to come in and guide Gabriel and Ben White. And Gabriel and Ben White, I don't think are really quite yet in a position to be guiding anyone themselves. And, and Tony makes a good point. He's saying that our most senior player in that position is Rob Holding. That's who our up-and-comers are looking to for mentorship. Wow.
And he's a squad player, not a backup. You can't trust him for 38 games.
No.
If somebody gets injured.
Yeah. No, I mean, I kind of feel like the problems with Ben White and Gabriel are, for me, because I believe they are quality players, is the coaching in the situations that they're being put in. They shouldn't be in those situations, but because they are, they need to be coached up better. Mm-hmm. Gabriel took chances. For what reason, I don't know. You put Tavares next to him, he can't take the same chances than when he has Tierney there, right? And Tierney is a better player when he's healthy. So for me, you have to adjust your game to the quality around you. And time again, I believe I said going into a lot of those games, I need Gabriel to help Tavares, which doesn't make any sense because we're already saying he needs help as well. But he can't take the chances that he was taking in those type of situations, and he did it multiple times because I believe he was pressing during the games and playing out of character, right? And then we got burned every time he did that. So I kind of feel like that for me is the coaching that you need to put in there. Like your players are good, but sometimes you got to hold them back, or else they're going to punish somebody else. And that's why Tavares looked as bad as he did. If you put if that was a solid center back next to him, even when he makes mistakes, guess what? Guess who's there to clean up the mess?
Yeah,
the center back, right? You always see it all the time, right? The best center backs are there to clean up the mess. Mm-hmm. The guy on the outside
Van Dijk is there bringing his partner through games as well.
And we need that, but we also, I think you can coach some of that. You can slow things down for those players so they don't have to go out of character and play and then punish, and then get the rest of the team gets punished for it. So that's where I think the coaching comes into play, because you have to see that, right? You have to know the levels of the players that you have. We don't have a Champions League back four right now, right?
No.
And it's mostly because we don't have seasoned players there yet who've been playing in the Premier League and able to play in Europe right now. So you got to make it easier for them. You got to put them in positions to succeed. I say it all the time. And the only way to do that is to slow it down for them and not ask them to do too much, because they don't need to. We're not losing games if we don't go out of position, right? And you know what? When we talk about, sorry, I saw the thing about the projects and Martinelli, a project in the European games. We don't have that, so then why are we getting players that require that, right? We did. Sambi and Tavares were coming in a situation where we didn't have those games, so everything we had was going to be crucial.
We had
based
tough
on the way
games
that
they didn't play in.
based on the way that Arteta manages, he's not pulling his players too often sometimes, and we saw that. We saw that this year when he came down to it, and he had to trust. He's not trusting them. He'd rather play a tired player than a rested one.
This was a season that Sambi and Tavares were supposed to get a minimal amount of games to get the grounding for the season. Tony, you wanted to get in?
Yeah, I'll start with the problem is both the backup fullbacks are wing backs. They're not fullbacks. Cedric's not a fullback. He's a wing back. Tavares is definitely a wing back. Get that chair moved, Alonso.
Sounds like a train was passing through.
But to me, I think with the players we have, I think we got more of wing backs than we do. I think it helped Tierney's career. He shifts over to the right, plays left center back like he does for Scotland. Then you got Gabriel in the middle and Wyatt on the right, and you got Tomiyasu and whoever we get as a backup left back, wing back, whoever we get there, then you got to get that going. What?
It's a pity you can't just if you've got too many wing backs, just go to the training tab, put them in development, and change them into left backs like you can on FIFA. That's what I would do. But
yeah,
FIFA.
I think the big issue with ours defense, and I think we've all kind of touched on it a little bit. There's no commanding centre back that the other central defenders can take their cues from. Liverpool's got a Van Dijk that can do that.
Nothing wrong with Dunk or me, by the way. Dunk or me. Nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
Solid.
Dunk, me.
Even Johnny Evans.
Those are players that are, or at least in me's case, he's out, right? He's going to the championship. Why don't they? There are players that I believe are going out of this league that we could use, and they would be probably not starters for us, but they would be quality squad players, meaning they could come in and they can actually play for us because they've done it already, right? You take any of those starters from those teams and you bring them into Arsenal, they could play for us, and they most likely will get to play for us because of the way.
Why couldn't Ben Mee push Ben White?
Exactly.
Fresh surroundings, a new opportunity, other players around him. Why couldn't he work hard, keep his head down, and give him a run for his money?
Yeah, the only thing I can think, Stan, and we're going to answer the Assembles question as well. The only thing I can think is you're going to have 4 central defenders next season with William Saliba coming back. BX Conte bringing in Perisic was a big move. They're active and pushing early. I think.
Is it a big move though? I mean, it's no different to when we brought in Willian, right? It's the same sort of profile, similar position on the field, similar age, and look how it worked out. So let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see. He'll probably have a blinding first game like Willian did at Fulham, and then hopefully he'll fall off the end of a cliff, and then we can laugh at them like they laughed at us.
First game of the season, August 6th.
Hat trick.
He light it up, and then you won't see him for the rest of the year. And Conte will be sitting on the bench in May going, where the heck was the rest of the season when you score a brilliant free kick?
There's no guarantees that he's going to light it up at all.
Yeah, exactly. Alonso, I'll start off with you. If you were Saliba, would you sign a new contract? Remember what he done to Ainsley Maitland-Niles. This is with Arsenal, not Marseille. Would you sign a new contract with Arsenal?
What did he do to Ainsley Maitland-Niles? Sounds a bit rude.
He's in the wasteland. He's in the wasteland, Stan.
Is he in therapy now?
He's with Mourinho.
Well, yeah, he's definitely in therapy then.
Alonso?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Obviously he doesn't want to be there because the whole thing was all messed up from the get go. I think they shouldn't have thrown him out. He should have stayed. You know, at this point, if I'm Saliba, I wouldn't want to sign an Arsenal contract simply because he doesn't want to be there. I think he's enjoyed his time in France. He sees his future in France. But as a supporter of Arsenal, I would want Saliba to stay because he offers a lot. And he's young, he's fresh, he's very talented. But if I was Saliba, I would not sign a contract with Arsenal. Because I feel like they don't value me as much as they should have when they signed me, or Saliba. So no, I would not sign a contract with Arsenal.
If you're a Saliba.
Yeah.
Gary, this is dangerous now. We sent the player on loan. He started to enjoy his surroundings in Marseille. So, if you're a Saliba, Gary, would you sign your contract and come back to Arsenal?
If I'm Saliba, probably not. But Arsenal created this mess.
Yeah.
I mean, why in the world do they need to? I mean, if they are looking out for his well-being and his career, why were they asking him where he should play his next season? They should be the ones going out and doing it. That's my understanding of how that all worked. Where would you like to go play? I'll go back to France and play. And at some point, the player has to feel he's in control of his career at that point, and the team doesn't have much say in it. So that's where I think Arsenal went wrong, because they gave him a little bit too much power, and he should be happy to come back to Arsenal. That's why you put him on loan. Look, I can't give you any games this year. You need to get out there and play. So you're going to get out there and play. And the communication's got to be consistent throughout the entire season. He knows he's part of the squad when he comes back. He's playing well. They're pushing. They're pushing it. They're pumping him up every time they talk to him because he's having a good time out there. Right? Obviously, they did not do that because obviously he doesn't feel.
Somebody liked that comment.
Go
ahead.
What?
Somebody liked your comment. I heard it.
No, I just feel like Arsenal once again they lie themselves. Right? They've taken the control out and once again giving it to the player. He should be happy to come back because he's going to have an opportunity to play for the Arsenal and help them get back to where they want to be.
Well, there's a lot going on in the background that we obviously don't know about, so we're just speculating here about.
You ask a question, I give you a question. You can't then turn around and say there's so many unknowns we don't know. Let's just talk about what we.
You're sounding like Donald Rumsfeld now. There are so many knowns and unknowns that we
I don't want to talk about the things I don't know. I'm going to tell you how I feel, and we can't then say, there's all these unknowns, so you know what? Forget about it. No. I think Arsenal's screwed. I never get to finish.
I need to bring a condiment to these podcasts.
No, I think they screwed up when they let him go the first time, second time, and now they're in the situation, right? Because they're going to lose money again. Because the way we do business, we're going to lose money again if we don't get him to sign. Because he's worth a lot more money to us than he is to any other squad, but we're not going to get that money back. So I kind of feel like, we might have spent 25 on him, but he's worth 30. He's worth 50 to us. If White is worth 50, then he's worth 50, and it's not because of the years of service. It's because of the potential that you're going to have in him, right? He's already proved that he's good enough to be one of the best in the leagues that he's playing in. White hasn't done that, right? So he's younger. He's like 2-3 years younger than him. Right. So if you put that in, you take potential. He's actually doing really well. He's actually playing. He's on the French team. They see some promise in him. All of those things means he's worth 50 to Arsenal.
Hey Gary,
if he's going to go for 50, then he's playing for Arsenal. There's no reason to question it. He should re-sign, but he's in control now.
Hey, Gary, I have to ask you a question. Do you prefer Saliba over Gabriel?
Why are we bumping Gabriel as my man?
He asked you a question.
No,
Okay.
No, you don't. Okay.
No. They all. I would love to see a Saliba Gabriel combo back there.
I'd rather see a
Not,
Ben
in,
White sleeper.
well, no. The reason why I'd like to see both like this Gabriel's because I just feel like that's a really big, strong back line, and I know
Hmm.
I think
Physicality. You like the physicality of it.
and White can play on the outside of them if it need be. You know what I mean? So
So you like the physicality over the ball playing skills of Ben White.
I believe, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to get to
No,
Tony.
opposite.
Tony's next.
I finally get to speak. Wow.
Tony,
Imagine that.
no more talking to you.
Gary needs to pass the mic to you more often when he's done.
Yeah.
There you go.
Only complaining that he doesn't get the chance to speak.
And then when we ask you a question,
What?
no.
Come on. Shut up, Gary. Drink whatever beverage you're drinking. Anyway,
Tony, you come a long way, man. Go back and watch your first ever podcast. Seriously,
Tony,
do
you need me to show you the question again? You might have
I
forgotten.
know what it is. Arteta does not like Saliba. Saliba's still pissed off that he didn't get to play in the French Cup final. The player's in the Champions League. Why in the fuck
That's not right.
would he come back to us? Why? Why would you want to come back? He's not going to get guaranteed starting minutes unless we switch to a back three. Why would you come back? We're that offer him a contract with probably a release clause that he might sign, and that might get triggered this summer. That's the best you can hope for. To me, I've never seen him coming back. I don't think the player wants to come back. We haven't developed him right. If you're going to send the player out on loan 3 times, I want to do it 3 times in the French league. Send him to Italy, Germany, much better leagues than Francis. Let him develop where they play better defense in both those leagues. But to me, I think the player wants to be here. I don't think Arteta really wants him. I think they're just might try to get him this contract just so they don't have to go out and sign another soon. So we need to sign him. As far as repair, just it's like oil and water don't go together. It doesn't work. It's kind of a joke that Alonso would put Saliba up over Gabriel. Gabriel gives you height.
Just ask
No, I said because because he can't fix Tavares' mistakes, Tony. That's why I said that.
Yeah. Hey. Good shout, Lonzo. Good shout.
Ramsdale couldn't do it either. Nobody. It's their fault. It's Arsenal's fault for buying that bad of a deal. That was our problem last year. We kept going through a revolving door through the entire back four. You have the quality, then you don't have to fucking worry about it. Saliba's a brick shit house? No, he's not.
Pass the mic to Stan when you're done.
I'm done.
Can I steal it real quick?
Really?
No.
No?
I've probably got time to go and get some shopping then.
Stan doesn't. Oh, I don't talk much, do I?
No, it's about Tony.
You talk more on this fucking show than you do the trip. It's like the trip with Gary. This is what.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what this trip is that you're talking about.
All right, Stan. If you're Saliba, would you sign a new contract? And then we'll get some midfield.
I think it's quite simple, right? You think of when the day came down when Saliba's agent phoned him and said Arsenal are going to put a bid in for you. Are you interested? He obviously agreed to it. And why would he do that? It's because he didn't say no. Can you get me an extension at Marseille? Obviously, for him, he felt that it was a step up. It's a little bit like in Formula One, isn't it? Look at Pierre Gasly. He's a Red Bull driver, but he's at Alpha Centauri.
Yeah.
As good as he's doing at Alpha Centauri, he wants that Red Bull seat.
Mm-hmm.
That's the prize. Yeah, that's the prize. It's like in wrestling, right? You get signed by the WWE, but they send you off to Jim Cornette and Smokey Mountain to develop. You don't want to stay there. You don't want to stay there with Jimmy Cornette. Do you know what I mean? You want to get at some point come back to the place that's sponsoring you. and prove that they made the right decision. And for me, I'm sure that William Saliba is looking at the Premier League and thinking this has to be a step up than doing what I'm doing here in Marseille. The only thing that I would criticise Arsenal for was that 6-month period where they failed to register him for a competition and didn't put him out on loan. That was a real big fuck up by a Premier League club. At that level, you should make sure that you've got people working for you to make sure that you don't miss that. They've got you looking ahead. That was a big fuck up. Other than that, I think that William Saliba has gone out and he's increased his value. He's had a lot more minutes than he would have got at Arsenal. He's got a lot more minutes than he would have playing in cups and, you know, Europa League early rounds that we're not even in. He's got himself elevated to be the young French player of the year, which is a hell of an accolade. And he's also worked his way into the senior French squad. I would like to see a William Saliba with a bit between his teeth. I don't want to see a player that's going, well, I'd rather go to Marseille. Why? Because they're in the Champions League.
It's easier.
And then fucking go to Marseille. I want him going, I want to go to Arsenal. Why? Because that was always the target. That's when they rang me, that I was so chuffed that they wanted me, and I want to go back and prove them right. I want to kick a ball in anger for Arsenal. If he's got that kind of attitude, then that can only be good for us. But if he's going to bitch and say, well, Champions League and the World Cup and blah, 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 then go and do that shit. I don't want to hear it.
Mr. Tom said, if you stay with Jim Cornette, you get to sit in the back of a van with 10 other wrestlers while he screams at Dairy Queen drive-through. Sorry.
I was going to say, like, why not? I was going to say, like, the why not sentiments comments about Saliba not getting maybe that. Like, if you're, this is where Arsenal needs to be proactive, right? You keep talking about it. They seem to only want to improve your value after the fact, right? They never see the quality of the player beforehand, and then say, you know what, I know I've got a good one there. Let's lock him up because not only
we've done a few of those. In fairness,
no, but I mean, like who?
Balogun,
yeah, but he's not even going to come back this year, right? So he's still not ready.
But that's what
you're going to do it for Balogun, okay. So all right, you're right. We did it for Balogun. Saliba is a better prospect right now, and was a better prospect when he was with Arsenal than Balogun. So you're saying they didn't do what they did for Balogun, even though for Balogun, you guess
we don't know.
He was in control. He was in control of his career once again, and said he was, you know, and they went back and forth on that. So once again, I don't think it was the same. Like they knew when they sent out Saliba, right, that he was going to come back with 2 years on his contract, and they don't.
Why do we want a player that doesn't want to be with us?
Right. So that's why why not sentiments comments about maybe they should have given him the contract before he left, because they knew that they wanted him back, and they knew that they don't like to do business with 2 years left on the contract, because when the player says no, you got to sell him, right? And then and the way Arsenal does business, if this is a different team, so be it. But the way Arsenal does it, they always take a hit. They always take a loss.
Tony, there's a lot of things we do not know behind the scenes. We are making speculation right now.
It's not speculation. He's talked to the media and said he's at home at Marseille.
We shall see what happens. This will not be resolved tonight. We shall see.
But like I said, why should we want a player that doesn't want to be with us? He doesn't want to play. Fuck off.
Well, we don't know that. You're telling me he said something. We'll see. Let's wait and see.
He said it. I've seen the fucking interview.
Hang on a minute, Tony. He just come off the pitch, right? He's still at Marseille. What's he supposed to say? What is he supposed to say? Yeah, fuck this shit. I can't wait to get back to Arsenal. You know, you can have sometimes you have to have a little bit of decorum about you and read the room and say everything but say nothing.
Yeah, but he went on to say, he said if I would speak more, I would be in trouble with Arsenal.
Yeah. So this player
guy does not want to be at Arsenal.
And we will know later.
Said that in the press.
We will know later If
$2
it,
million a
God,
player.
Tony,
dude.
Tony, if he comes
And we
back
sell him
and
from a
plays,
profit like Chelsea do.
This is Arsenal, though. We don't do that. We give you discounts.
We'll tear up his
Tony,
contract.
He's worth
Drive
20
got-
him to the
million when we
airport.
bought him. He's worth
I got one
27
question
now.
for you, Tony.
We bought him for 27.
If he comes back and he's available, to play this season and he plays cup games, will you admit that you were wrong?
He's
No.
not going to come back to play cup games, right?
No. Okay.
Ray, that's a moot point.
Let's move on.
If you can be a starter on the Champions League team, why would he come and be a backup at Arsenal?
Because it's
I don't know.
fucking Arsenal.
because it's Arsenal.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Do you know
but
what I
the
mean, Tony?
fucking guy
Fucking hell.
says he doesn't want to be at Arsenal, so why not fuck
Yeah.
Oh
off?
my God, Tony.
When did he
Jesus
say? When did he
Christ.
say I don't want to be at Arsenal? Why is he not putting a transfer request then? He has options.
I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't.
He's got options. Tony, all right. I can't wait to see you back on here when he pens paper to the new contract. Yeah.
Then he gets bought on a high out fly.
I've never seen. Listen, Tony.
Um,
I've never seen a one-legged man backpedal, but I'm looking forward to it.
Exactly.
Go
Me
back
too.
there.
Stephen is right here. If Saliba bowls, that's 99 million. Arteta's wasted when you include Pepe. I mean, he didn't use an asset, 72 million, and you throw in Guendouzi, that's 113 million wasted. Mind-numbing numbers. I'm not interested in Guendouzi personally, but Pepe
Guendouzi
and
was worth
Saliba-
50 million under Emery, so we got 8 million for him. He was. That's what his value was. Barcelona even offered us 50 million. So
You've been on the mushrooms again, ain't you?
no.
All right, Tony. We're going to keep going with Tony here. We're going to get into midfield, Tony. Our defensive record, we just talked about it. We conceded 9 more goals than last season. Granit Xhaka got sent off two times this season. Nuno
2
Tavares
reds, 10 yellows.
responsible for a few of those goals. So red cards definitely hurt us at Manchester City, losing 5-0. Tavares had a mare up at Liverpool, losing 4-0. Not the sole reason, but midfield's been our light midfield has been part of the reason why we shipped so many goals as well.
It's been a problem for 4 years, and we haven't fixed it. We keep on keeping Xhaka. Xhaka wanted to go. We got plenty of offers for him. Even last summer, just 2 million euros different, and he would have went to Italy. Get a 40 million from Hertha. I don't know why you don't ship him in. Arteta loves the guy. He's not good enough for Arsenal. Not good enough to be backup. Not good enough to be a starter. To me, he's a squad
Jesus
player like
Christ.
Elneny would be.
Granit
He's
Xhaka.
not good. He slows down the tempo. He passes the ball backwards. He's slow as fucking molasses. There's no good quality about him. Except that he's fucking a cheerleader or whatever people see him.
So Tony, is the reason why I got 5th is because of Granit Xhaka? Hello? Exactly.
Xhaka was such a problem. We had to put him on the left midfield because he was a fucking liability. If he's a liability, he's not good enough to start. Needs to be replaced.
That's a fair point, Alonso. We had to take Granit Xhaka out of the firing line and push. We couldn't take him out of the team, right?
Smith Rowe could have easily played the position Xhaka played the last 3 months of the season.
Yeah.
But we can't do without him either. So
if we're dependent on Xhaka, then we got big problems, and we have big problems because we're depending on Xhaka to be the savior for the midfield, which is
no Champions League qualification.
For me, no.
One at a time.
It's just not. I mean, that's not it. For me. It's not. It doesn't show progress, and it doesn't show us ambitious in terms of where we want to be. He is not as good as we want it with that position to be played. He isn't. It's just
right, but
he just isn't.
But he's a squad player that we.
No, but we're treating him like he's a starter, and he's not. Not for
this
what we want to
season.
do. No, he's a starter for us because we have nobody better. But
Tielemans,
we're not even willing to go out and get somebody better.
Tielemans
We could have done that last year because we needed somebody better last year. This isn't something where now we needed somebody better last year. We needed somebody better the year before that, and the year before that. And as soon as you saw what you got,
we didn't do it.
I don't know what Tony's saying because he's.
We had somebody better. I don't know. What did you say, Tony?
Bruno Ramirez is somebody we could have signed, but we want to put up a cash for him.
All right,
Instead,
but
we were-
moving forward now, Tony. That ship has sailed, right? As much as it
Yep.
hurts. Tielemans an upgrade on Granit Xhaka?
he's slow like him, so I'm not sure if he's better positionally, but he's slow. We need fast players. We want to play tempo. We got the wingers, we got the fullbacks, or wingbacks if you want to play them that way, to have the speed to sprint up the hill. You pass it to fucking Zaka, he slows everything down. He back passes, it just kills the tempo. Tillman's, he's slow. We need somebody that can move up the pitch, unless we're going to play a solid central defensive mid, which we don't. We play these 4-2 formations. We don't play a 4-1. So, to me, I don't think he's enough of an upgrade. I think there are better options out there.
Steven said Xhaka is the reason our left side broke down when Arteta came up with the new formation. Xhaka broke our left side. He forced Tierney to be more defensive, and he failed to give Martinelli any support. And this is on Arteta for doing that. You know.
Like I just said.
Mm-hmm.
Tielemans fixes that.
I don't know if he. You think he
like
does?
Tielemans.
I just don't understand how. Why can't anybody be better than what we got? I just don't get it. Everybody has their problems with everybody, but I don't believe they're as big as what I think the positives outweigh some of the negatives of the players that we're talking
rather
about.
Get somebody like Basuma
So that's why that's why I say we need.
Sam,
do
you want Basuma,
better.
or would you rather have Tielemans?
Yeah.
Well, I just think that Jack has been in the team long enough now, and is supposed to be an influential figure, but we don't seem to reach our goals since he's been in the team, have we?
Nope.
We're not reaching our goals with him. So I don't understand why you have to cling to players like there's no other players out there. I think of them like FIFA, as in upgrade. I've got a bit more money now. I can get a better player. He's better at this attribute and better at that attribute. I don't understand why we have to be so attached to them all of the time.
It's the one time in the year we can be playing like FIFA.
Yeah, but
unless it's someone like Baka.
Who would you want? Do you want Tielemans, or would you rather have Basuma be a replacement for Zaka?
The perfect one. I think why not? For once, really do agree on something, because if Frankie de Jong is being made available at Barcelona, then for me, he ticks a lot of the boxes. I would take De Jong ahead of Neves. I would take De Jong ahead of Tielemans in a heartbeat.
And Zinchenko as well.
The thing about what I like about Zinchenko is he reminds me a little bit of Ainsley Maitland-Niles. He's a midfielder that can also play as a fullback, but unlike Ainsley, he didn't seem to bitch and moan about it. He seemed to just, try and do his best to work with the team. So if he did come to us, I think that he would have opportunities in the midfield. But it's nice to know that he also does have that quality of being a safe backup at a fullback position. So I quite like the Zinchenko as a squad player, and he could be a player that could, be really important to us in the midfield.
What has really happened to us this past season, Alonso, has been Partey, and bring your own point as well. Partey getting injured, Alonso.
Yeah, that was tough because you saw attributes of his game that could lead to something bigger. I think the reason why we signed him is because to be solidified that defensive midfielder role that we've been lacking for years. Unfortunately, that hasn't been the case because he's always hurt. But you saw glimpses this year as we headed to the top 4 spot. However, he got hurt again, and that's kind of discouraging. But the way Mohamed Elneny came on and did his job was pretty important, and I don't think that us Arsenal fans, most of us do, take Elneny for granted because of what he does. And he kind of pushed that under the rug because he did a good job filling in.
Yeah, but he should have came in quicker. He was back in February and that played
because we could use him during the games.
You mute, Stan.
I think one of Miko's biggest mistakes this season was not going to El Neni quicker than he did.
Yeah.
He took his time going to that option, and maybe if he'd gone there a little bit quicker, it might have given us a point or two. Just saying.
So-
From February to April, I think we're more
Yeah,
than
and
2
so-
points in there.
Yeah, so I think with the Congo, I think that there's room for improvement, but again, the future is right for him. But I think he came on at the wrong time and made him look bad. Whereas Onene could have done better before he got put on the team again. But Tony, you mentioned Moses Rowe playing in midfield at number 8. I personally like him. I personally don't like him in that role because it doesn't show
It
off his
wasn't as
strengths
number 8.
on the wing.
Zato played the last 2 months as the left midfielder. Not as an 8, as a left midfielder.
Tony, you don't need to get hung up on the minor
I'm not getting
things.
hung up on it. That's where he played at. He played left midfield. You could have played Stocko.
Well, what is the number then? Is it number 6 or number 5?
Yeah, what's the number, Tony?
It's an 8, isn't it?
It's an 8, isn't it?
It's an 8.
It's an 8. So I was right. My
I would
point
say
being
an 8.
is that my point being is Emilio Fro is better as a 10 or on the wing, not a number 8. I don't think so. I think that his strengths,
He wasn't playing as an
his
8.
weaknesses.
That's
Zaka
what
was
Alonso's saying. Alonso's agreeing with you.
He was playing on the left midfield.
That's
Which is an 8. He wasn't
Zaka
playing
was
as a,
left midfield, so
he wasn't
I
playing
don't
as
know
an
why we're
11.
talking about
He
an
wasn't playing as an
He
11,
wasn't
which is
doing
a
good.
winger. He was playing as an advanced midfielder, which is an 8.
Hey,
If he was playing as a withdrawn midfielder, he would have been a 6 or a 4, depending on what continent. Or if he
Yeah,
was
but
playing
he's
as an
not a
attacking midfielder,
box-to-box
playing as a 10.
midfielder. Would you say I consider an 8 a box-to-box guy?
Not
He
necessarily.
wasn't playing box-to-box.
Some
He was playing
can.
advanced.
Yeah, but he was playing. Oh, okay.
you're
Well,
getting
my point
hung up
being-
in specificity here.
He was playing further away from our goal, which was a good thing. He was out of mischief range.
My
The
point
higher the
being
number, the
is
better
that
for us.
my
Go ahead,
Plenty
point
of
being
better options out there.
my point being is that I would rather have ESR playing on the wing or number 10. Tony, he's not number 8. Like you
What his number
proposed.
says.
No. You're most proposed number 10, Tony.
Most
Odegaard
of
is number
his
8.
starts are as a left winger or a left midfielder.
Odegaard's at number 10.
Oh my god.
We're all getting hung up on numbers, aren't we?
I know, but
So-
go and look at where Smith.
When
Rowe's
Odegaard played as a
always
number
been
8, do
as-
you remember he was less effective when he was played deeper? He was less effective.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Rowe's always been played as a left midfielder, a left winger. He hasn't been played as number 10.
yeah.
So-
Okay, we're talking about the 8s right now.
Right. So to me,
Oh, at 8 we had.
I'm always interested to see how good Onene and Party will be as a pivot because I think Onene will bring the best out of Party and vice versa.
I think they've
Because-
worked quite well in the past, Alonso. They've worked quite well as a tandem together.
Yeah, and I think Xhaka slows down Party's development, and he gives Party he shows off Party. They don't have a good partnership. Where I think Onene and Xhaka kind of do, and it's interesting what we have as far as depth in that area. I think the Conga and Xhaka doesn't work quite well. And I think it hampered Sambi's development as well, as far as the number 8 and number 5.
I think Gary's correct in saying Lukonga is a project. He obviously had to play too many games for me this season. Stan's correct. Arteta didn't go to El Neni when the warning signs were ringing, when the bells were ringing. He persisted with Sambi in the team. The assemble here is correct, and this is what we need to get away from in the summertime. Arteta's moving this top forward by having Xhaka and Elneny in our midfield options, and Kedia is part of our attacking options. Let that sink in. Don't forget Holding as a defensive option. All four of those players need to be what we're going to call depth. They need to be players who can rotate in and out, do a job for us, but they're not going to play the majority of the
They need to
season.
be squad players, not even backups. Just squad players.
Even if some of them are still here next season.
We're talking about our midfield. If we were to bring in two, and let's say I really like De Jong. I'm not so sure.
Mhm.
The only thing where I think that we might have a chance with De Jong is that people automatically think that because Ten Hag's gone to Man United, he's a shoe-in to go there. But he's kind of had an interview where he really likes the Mark Overmars trajectory of football, Ajax, Arsenal, Barcelona, and then he even said like, but obviously if Barcelona come knocking first, you have to go there. But Arsenal, he kind of, if you brought in De Jong and Tielemans, you add that to what we already have. A Thomas Partey who might not be able to play every single game. That makes Xhaka not so more relied upon. If you brought two in like that, you could even get rid of one. And I would keep Elneny and get rid of Xhaka if we're going to bring in a De Jong and a Tielemans. There's a lot that could be done. It gives us a little bit more variety, and then that would allow you to maybe have one space on the bench for one of these youngsters that you see all these youngsters that get on there, the true youngster that might have an opportunity to give them match day experience traveling with the team. You can then fill up the bench and have one space for that kid. But
or even throw in a Zinchenko in there as well. Stephen makes a good point here. Tielemans has a lot of the same qualities Partey has, so I'm thinking if Partey breaks down again, he's finished as an Arsenal player. We talked about, I think, Kieran Tierney a little bit earlier. We didn't know about him. Maybe we knew about him, but we were going to take another run at him last season in terms of the amount of injuries he had. And yes, he has had an injury record down through his career. But we were always hoping Kieran Tierney was going to play a bigger part in the season, Gary.
I just kind of feel like you're just wishing upon a star when you do that. The man showing you he's played one season over 30 games in the Scottish League, and everything else is kind of in the low 20s. So it's like
really, Gary.
Yeah. So he's 20 games is about if you get 20, you're happy because that's about you're not going to get too many more after that, and that's kind of been the trend. So we've been lucky.
I didn't know it'd been as regular as that. Jesus. That's not
so I think there was one season he did 31. Everything else was in the 20s. So the midfield for me,
that's not good.
We need it doesn't matter what positions, but if you look at the quality of the players all around, you want a Partey who's healthy, right? You want somebody who definitely is better than Xhaka. We don't need projects, so that's Sambi, right? Elneny, for me, I understand a lot of people who will say that Elneny is a bad signing in a sense that we're making that signing, and this is probably where I don't. This is what scares me. We're making that signing so we don't have to get better players to play in front of him. You know what I mean? Like we've got our safety net, so let's not better the midfield, right? Because the mindset is like, you know what? Well, you know what? If we can't get a player we want, we've got Elneny, and that's for me. Elneny should be like, you know what? We have a solid third, fourth, fifth option, whatever it might be. Done. We don't have to think about that, but we definitely need to get a better starter or the guy right behind him, depending on what position we're talking about.
Let me ask you something, Gary,
if
I may. Who do you think is the better player, Xhaka or Elneny? Just on the base of the playing side of stuff, what they can bring to a team.
I like the consistency of Elneny over what I'm going to get from Xhaka any day because I can't trust. The Arteta trusting players How does he trust Xhaka going to do him well every time he goes out there? He can't because he's seen it too many times.
The reason I asked that question is, would you like to see a scenario whereby El Neni is moved out of the team, Xhaka takes up El Neni's spot in the team, someone else is now coming above Xhaka? So the reason I was asking that, if we were talking earlier about just looking at it as upgrades, would it be better for would Xhaka be an upgrade on El Neni? So he's not playing as many games, but when we do need that break glass, instead of El Neni, it's a Xhaka. Personally, I just don't think that Xhaka would want that profile in the team.
Well, and that is where Arteta comes in, because he's not a kind of manager that's going to tell Xhaka, you are this is where you stand on
You're
this
the new
team.
Onene.
but you are. That's where you stand on this team.
Some dreadlocks,
and you know what?
teams
will want it, but he can't.
We don't know that, Gary.
He can't sell that to Xhaka. I don't believe he can sell that to Xhaka. Not at
I
all.
can just imagine that one morning there's a team meeting and Mikel looks at Xhaka and is like, Granite, grow some dreadlocks. Like, why? You're the new Onene.
Yeah, I mean, I believe Arteta's ambitious enough that he would tell Granit Xhaka that next season. You're going to get
next season, but he should have told him that last season. See, this is where we're talking about things that should have happened a while ago. Xhaka was never what we wanted, right? But they kept telling us that, you know what? We are not looking to replace Xhaka. When they said that last summer, that's when you knew, crap, we're stuck with this guy for another season.
We knew it.
They really don't want to improve. Like, they're going to improve. We improved on Leno, right? We improved on Leno and got Ramsdale, who's he's still got some work to do. But for some reason, we can't improve on Xhaka. Are you kidding me?
Is there
Are you
anyone?
kidding me? He is not, like, in terms of what I got from Leno and what I got from Xhaka, I think Leno gave us more.
Yeah.
Yeah?
For that 1 or 2 games.
Leno was considered a player of the season for us, right? Xhaka, when was the last time you went, all right, well, you know what? We're missing Xhaka. We're in trouble because he's so good. No, we're missing him because we have nobody better than him behind him, right?
And that's
totally different situation, right?
Yeah.
Different situation.
So that's where I kind of like. They both need to go if we are ambitious and we're moving in a certain direction. But because we can't afford to change that many players in and out. We have to keep somebody. Why keep the guy who's stable, right?
El
Neni is a stable. You know what you're going to get. He wants to be here. Xhaka already's like Lacazette. He's shown you he's happy to go, right? When a player says he's happy to go, and we go, all right, just let him go then. Xhaka had done the exact same thing, but for some reason Arteta wants to keep him. So what it's yes, it's horses for courses and all that other crap that people talk about.
As soon as Mikel finds out,
as
soon as Mikel finds out where Granit's hiding them nudes, he's out of Arsenal. He's gone. But until that day, right? He's safe.
Do you know what I'm thinking about next season? And listen, I don't want Granit.
Can I have a quick question? Is there anybody that would be happy if Granit, in the chat box as well, is there anybody out there that would be happy if Granit Xhaka was still part of the squad next season and in the capacity that he is, not further down the pecking order, but he is still that prominent role in our midfield? Is there anybody that would be, hey, I wouldn't mind that, because I'll be very disappointed actually.
How many people
I don't see it.
I
really don't see it as
position, Stan.
It really bothers me, Tony, because I just don't see that as progression.
And the other thing,
he's not Maradona. Yeah. We can do better.
I was going to say, Stan, I was going to say the same thing as well. So we were maybe thinking along the same lines. And, Steve Denham, get out of bed.
Didn't mean to piss on your parade there.
Steve Denham, get out of bed and answer that question. Do you want Granit Xhaka next season? And what kind of game state would you bring Granit Xhaka off the bench in? Would you bring him in to hold on to a 2-0 lead? Would you bring him in to chase a game?
No, you bring him in because you need to rest your starter, because the game is well in hand. It's in a good. You're up 2 goals and you need to rest a player for the next one. That's why you bring him in. You're not bringing him in to hold on to a 0-0 game that's got like 20 goals, 20 shots on target, attempted. You don't want to do that because he's going to let you down. He's shown that. So now,
Um,
as far as midfield, we are so thin there, right?
Yeah.
We've got either projects or we've got players that just don't work. Like we are looking at probably three or four of the top under 22-year-old players on in football on our squad, and we still think we need to go out and get wingers, right? But for midfield, the squad is like, yeah, we're fine. We got
And
started.
the
What?
manager used to
Are you
be a
kidding me?
midfielder. That makes it even worse.
Hey, look, see, I got Steve out of bed there. Hell no, I haven't wanted Xhaka since we were linked with him.
If we start
Okay,
next
back
season with
Go
Xhaka
back
in,
to bed there, Steve.
I'm gonna be really
Watch us.
disappointed. I'm gonna be disappointed before we kick a ball if he's still in that position because I just don't understand why we don't think that Mikel Arteta doesn't. He's trying to rebuild a team, right? What he doesn't think there's anyone else out there better than Granit Xhaka for reals. I mean, what the fuck?
And
It's not,
Arteta was a fucking
I,
midfielder. That
I
makes
don't
it
get
even worse,
it.
Stan.
I don't get it. I just don't get this
Look,
fucking.
I'm going to get
Yeah.
hate for saying this. Granit Xhaka, the footballer, is decent at times. It's his mentality I have an issue with.
No, he's not good. Then you can't. You can't.
Okay
He's a good
footballer.
player, but he's not.
He's a
You
bang
just said
average player.
he's not a good player.
He's a bang
We need
average player
all around
that's a
players.
He'd be,
He's
he'd
not.
be, he'd be
That means
great
he
at
needs to
Crystal
go.
Palace. He'd be great
I
at
knew
Crystal
I'd get
Palace.
hate from you.
Yeah,
Great at
it's-
Palace.
But Vieira would tear the shit out of him. He would have be a Crystal
And you know what?
Palace
And
fan.
there's another thing. Our like I said, our manager does not. He does not. He doesn't warrant the authority and the respect that you get from these big time players. Who's going to tell Vieira how to play midfield? Right, really good. Who's telling him that? Who's telling Vieira how to play his position? Arteta is supposed to be a midfielder, and that's where we have the problems. What's going on? Right?
That's what I'm
He's
saying.
supposed to be a good defensive midfielder. We were crap defensively unless Partey's healthy, right? And
We've only
Partey,
seen
is
a good
my
Partey
understanding,
2 months out of
Partey
2
shouldn't be
years.
playing in that position, but he's a good enough player to qualify to do the job, right? You bring a Basuma in, what do you do with Partey? You push him further up the pitch, right? We say that all the time, right? Can we get a true CDM and then we can push Partey up? Why? Because now you're in trouble when we attack. Because you get the ball to Partey, he gets the ball to Erdegaard, and then you're in trouble, right? It's a similar thing that we just did to Jacques.
We have a
Right?
true
We moved him
CDM
away
that
from
led
danger
Europe in stops.
because he's a
That'd be
risk.
correct.
We put Partey back, and so we're nullifying some of his strengths. So if you can bring somebody in between him and the back line, well, that just makes things better. I mean, I don't know, just, it would be so nice, right? And we know that Partey and Erdegaard, that combination works. We've seen it so many times. We know when that happens, next thing you know, Ramsdale's long passes probably are better suited because now there's a threat in the middle of the pitch, all right? Like we've seen Ramsdale make these long passes, hit Aubameyang in
Long ball.
stride, right?
Wow,
and we're like, no, we've seen it with Aubameyang too, and we're like laughing because you're like, damn, that's the goalkeeper, you know. And like you said, he does the same thing to Martinelli, and we're laughing.
Yeah.
Now things we build up from the back, and then you're like, we're laughing even more. So we need to strengthen. We need to.
Martinelli will only benefit from us getting a Frankie de Jong in there, Tielemans in there, or Zinchenko, or even 2 out of those 3 would be great. Much love to all of you in the UK watching us at 3:47 a.m. And I was able to get Steve.
Now poor Steven won't sleep for another hour.
I go to Steven to get out of bed so he could type something about Granit Xhaka. So you're all good sports.
You shouldn't have told us he wasn't going to be able to chat with us because we did.
He's watching from the warmth of his bed in there. Why not said Vieira was coached by Wenger, who had a functional attacking system of play. Everything else was Vieira, and the player provides.
No, but Vieira was like you watched him out there. You like you have Vieira,
He was
and
a
you have Vieira, and you have Arteta. Who you listening to?
Yeah,
they played in a similar position on the pitch. Who are you listening to?
4 a.m., Mr. Tom. Yeah, we're listening to Vieira. Yes, he's got more. It's a bit like Ancelotti. You got more behind you there with that resume, with that CV. I saw David Luiz drop the ball in Alba's fight. I haven't seen Ben Scheidt do that. So listen,
I have.
our midfield is dysfunctional at best.
He has done that. So he has done that. He has made some good through ball passes. I've seen some more earlier with us than of late, but he has made some split passes from the defense. Ben White, sorry.
I would
we
say,
discovered what the through ball was.
yeah. Okay, so that's midfield, right? Wasn't great last season. We missed Partey. Injuries hurt us, just like in the fullback position. And if we're looking back at last season,
we could have used some of the lone players in those positions.
Some of the lone players.
Like Carrera. Carrera led the top 5 European leagues in stops in the attacking half or attacking third.
There's a conversation. We'll probably have that conversation on Sunday about the lone players coming back to help us and fill out the squad. Tony, let's get through the next 15-20 minutes to get out of here, right? Wingers, Tony.
Might be another hour.
Well,
I just got a bottle. I'm looking at what I'm ready to go. Let's go.
We got to wrap up the wingers and the strikers, Tony.
The president has hit the plane.
The wingers has been the biggest thing that carried us this season. Emile Smith-Rowe, Saka.
That's why I'm surprised we're being linked with wingers so much. I would offer to try Martinelli as a second or third striker. Because you got Smith-Rowe and Martinelli over there. On the right, you got Saka. So you don't really need an elite player like Gnabry. Unless you're going to play him in a different position than on the wing.
I mean, we need a player like that in rotation, right? To help us.
Yeah, but we don't use rotation.
We need players that will push Emile Smith-Rowe and Saka to the bench. That's what we need. I don't need them. I keep saying this. I've been saying it. I sound like a broken record. They don't need to be starting for Arsenal today. They don't. They don't. They're 2-3 years away from that. They're good enough to come in and start for us all season. We know that, but we don't need to put them in that situation right now. We need, we're talking about getting into the Champions League and actually being able to compete in there. Think about 2-3 years from now if we were to get somebody better than them, and now you've got to figure out, do I take the starter or do I take one of the Saka or Emile Smith-Rowe coming off and have them start? We're laughing. That's what you want to be able to do. So I kind of feel like, nah. Push him back, man.
If you look at the way that a lot of people criticize Pep Guardiola, the way that he introduced Phil Foden into his team, 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there, but it's paid off. It really has. And Gary's right. I think that a few of our players had, even though we ended up in one competition, they were playing far too many games than they needed to. So I do think that we do definitely need a winger coming in. And someone like Gnabry, who can play on the right, which is Saka's position, but is equally as comfortable on the left. But you have to remember that before Saka, Saka was a left midfielder. It was only, remember, he was always on the left wing back as well.
Yeah,
he slotted in for Pepe, and then he kind of like nailed that place. So again, it's quite versatile, right? And I think that bringing in a player like Gnabry on the right, you could have Xhaka on the left. You could have Martinelli on the left. You could have Gnabry on the left. You could have Xhaka on the right. It gives us more options. And if we want to be successful in the competitions that we're going to be in, we need that depth. And Gnabry is one player that doesn't come in as a backup player or a squad player. He comes in and pushes two players, maybe three. He pushes Saka, Martinelli, and Emile Smith-Rowe. So, could be a good thing.
Yeah, but the only way to change if we actually utilize with new 5 subs. Arteta usually makes his first substitution with 15 to 12 minutes ago. Have to change his pattern. Right. He's never rotated with players.
Gnabry wouldn't ride the bench for Saka, but you have to have rotation. They can have an equal amount of games if you strategically plan it for our 4 competitions. You've got to be
Yeah.
canny. That's
Yeah.
how it works.
Give one player a rest on a Thursday. Sorry.
Yeah, but we haven't done that
Another
yet.
player a rest on the Sunday. You know.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
have
Like,
one
and then-
competition
I mean,
to compete
I was
in
just,
this year.
yeah.
Did it.
I was just gonna say we keep saying that Pepe doesn't get enough minutes, but Emil Smith Rowe shows you that you don't need to get minutes. You don't need to get 90 minutes to make a difference in the game.
Huh?
But he came in and scored like what 3 or 4 goals in a row, playing like less than 30 minutes in a game.
Yeah.
So it's not. You need to be able to make a difference when you're on the pitch. That's all it is. Not. It doesn't matter how many minutes you're on for.
I think part of that, Gary, is football intelligence that Pepe maybe didn't
Yeah,
have.
but you need more than
Yeah,
15 minutes. To
Pepe
get
didn't
into
get
the
as
game.
many minutes for different reasons because he wasn't trusted.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Emil Smith Rowe would come on for 10 minutes. Around about December, he was coming on. He was on that hot
Jota
streak.
did the same thing, right? Jota
Just
did the
10 minutes,
exact same
one
thing.
goal.
Came in for like spot 20, 30 minutes a game at most, and he made a difference every time he came on,
Yeah.
right? And all that's done is made it easy for, Klopp to go. You know what? I can bench these. I can put these guys on the bench.
Bobby
Not because
Firmino.
not because they're playing poorly, but because you know what? They need a little break, right?
Yeah, but you
Yeah.
need
And
to
then
do
he
that
brings
with
he brings
30 minutes,
Louise in.
especially now
Like,
with
guess
5
what?
subs.
I've got like 4 players I can rotate around and not lose a damn thing, right? Or so that's what we
Wow.
want to do, and we have players that can do it. So Pepe, like you said, mentally, I don't know. He needs things to be easy for him, and that's not going to happen. And I don't think that's going to happen wherever he goes. How we are. I don't see it wherever he goes. It's
Yeah.
not going to be easy, right?
Well, he needs a team specifically set up for him.
Yeah,
It'll be easier.
The game might slow down for him, but those players are hungry too, right?
He needs a
Why
manager
not?
and trust in
We've
him.
been wondering about this. Why not? Well, mate, I thought with Willian gone, Pepe would have got more minutes. Boy, was I wrong. ASF. We all thought Pepe would get more minutes. It has to be that way next season.
Manager didn't trust him.
He didn't
I
trust
think
him at all.
it doesn't trust him, does he?
No.
He really
Didn't
only
trust him.
puts
Why did he
fucking.
keep him? Why did
He
he keep
literally,
him?
he literally puts Pepe on when there's literally no more life rafts left. Then he might get a look in, and I don't think he's going to be an Arsenal player next season.
He shouldn't be.
Yeah, they
because
just,
he
they
no
doesn't-
just
way.
throws him out
No
there with
way.
5 to
No
12 minutes
way.
left.
What's the
You
difference
look at the
between
hit
what's the
we'll take
difference
as well.
between Guendouzi and Pepe in regards to whether he's an Arteta player? Nothing. They're both on the same thing. I don't trust you because you're an idiot in my eyes, or I don't trust you because you don't play the proper football for me. Either way, you don't trust them, and they're just a waste of your money as a manager.
And one's
So
our
they have to
record
go.
signing. One is our
Difference,
record
exactly.
signing. He's
The
done
difference.
nothing. And when I say he's done nothing, I'm not leveling that just at Pepe. It's a little bit of each. The management, some of it, him as well. When you bring a player in as a record signing,
The
72
difference
million.
is the signing fee. Yeah.
You're expecting Henri levels, isn't you?
Yeah.
You're expecting
Exactly.
that kind of a style, that kind of a level, and it's not even been close. And some of what we're rumored to be maybe selling him for, it's less than 30 million.
Yeah, it will be less than 30
Less
million.
than 30
No, think
million.
about it. Think about it. Lukaku is supposedly gone, right? Because guess what? It's not working out. Whatever they thought they got, and whoever made that decision, hopefully is getting punished for it because it didn't work out. They didn't get the player that they thought they would, and he doesn't want to be here anymore. So he's gone, right? Right now, I believe he's pretty much out the door. Sometimes, I think it costs you more to hold on to a player just because you spent a lot of money on him. What's the point of that? You just hurt your team even more. Pepe got screwed over by Willian, and now he's screwing over the team because we can't use him. He's just a waste of space on the bench, right? You might as well not even have him on the bench if you cannot. We need to score. How many times did we need
The
to score
manager
a
is
goal?
doing that to him. The
How many
manager
times?
has
No,
done
think
that.
about it. How many times do we need to score a goal? And he brought in anybody else but Pepe.
I know.
right?
Um,
We need to score a goal. I don't remember what game. I don't know if it was the Burnley game or whatever. He wouldn't bring him on, and you're like, well, that's all he does.
mhm.
The one thing he
Yeah,
does is he
it
puts you in a
gives you
position
stuff.
to score a goal. So
Yeah.
if you're not going to play him, then why do you have him on your squad? It makes no
Exactly.
sense.
Yeah.
Um,
If he can't start and he can't come on in a situation like that, then what's the point of him? For
yeah.
72 million makes no
We,
sense.
we lost 5 games. We scored 1 goal in them, and I don't recall if Pepe played in any of them to finish off the season. What's the
If he
point of
did, it
having him
was
on
just a
your
7 to
squad?
12 minute
Why is he
game.
on your bench? And he was on the
Alonso,
bench for all 5 of those losses. And guess what? You get 2 points, 3 points out of that. We're laughing, right?
Alonso, Alonso. The wingers this season, have been great for us. With Kayasaka and Emil Smith Rowe, they've been the real bright point for us this season.
Yeah, and we owe a lot to the wingers because they really came through for us when we needed them the most. Though I wish Arteta used Emil Smith Rowe more just to get the best out of him. Though I agree with Tony, I think COVID really messed him up as far as being tired all the time, not being able to do well after he got COVID. And Martinelli, he did okay. There are flashes like the assist and playmaking ability. Though he was off target most of the time, and ran out of real estate to dribble. And also not having a proper striker really hurt him as well. There was talk that there was some sense of combination with the Moses Rowe and Lacazette and Saka, that combination, but it phased out, unfortunately. Later on in the season, whenever we needed a Moses Rowe, the league play was decent, but not all that there because Lacazette didn't score. Saka played it outstanding, as a Moses Rowe at times, though he was inconsistent as well. So that there's promise there.
Break it up a little bit.
Lonzo was on the dark side of the moon for a minute.
Yeah,
The rotation of the moon. Go ahead, Gary. Good after AFC Max. Thanks. Great to see you all the way from Australia. Gary,
what are we talking about? Because
the wingers, Saka, basically they carried the team this season, right, Alonso?
yeah,
CB's
no,
back.
they definitely did. They definitely
Sorry.
did. So,
No
do
problem.
you want to continue?
Alonso, do you want to finish your point?
Sounds like it's glitching again. It looks like
Yeah. Let's move on to another
So,
thing.
I mean, moving forward, we shouldn't have to depend. We shouldn't. Well,
It's a perfect segue. This is glitching, and something that glitched for Arsenal all season was the striking position. So, Tony, there's lots of factors
didn't matter
to
who the striker was.
how we missed out on top four. There's so many different ways we can look at this, but one of the easiest ways is to look at our striker position. No
Or
player
midfield.
scored more than
I think
5
both are
goals.
just as easy to look at.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie Nketiah scored 5 at the end, 5 out of 8 games at the end. But our striking position all season has been horrendous, Tony.
Yeah, was 13. I think it ended up being 14 goals from the strikers combined. That's definitely not good enough. You need at least a striker scoring 15 for you because we got wingers. You got Smith Rowe and Odegaard to get you goals too. Like that was one of the highlights of the year was to seeing the goals from Smith Rowe from the midfield.
Yeah.
Just 2 years ago, we only had 2 goals from the entire midfield, and this year is pretty high up there. But we definitely need strikers. We said we got one last summer, if not two. We talked about it on here. And this winter, we wasted chasing one striker that never wanted to come here. That's why I have. That's why I feel the same way about Saliba. He doesn't want to be here. Fuck off, sign somebody else. Isaac didn't want to come to Arsenal. I don't know why we were kept being one of linked with him so hard and chasing him. Why we let Bruno Guimaraes go, because we were so focused on striker. Guimaraes could have got us some points if we brought him in. But we definitely, to me, I think we still need three, because to me, Eddie maybe is up there with Welbeck, but I don't think so. I don't think he is yet. He's more of just a goal poacher, being up there, the ball is pinging around, and he kicks it in the net. That's what he does.
I'll go in.
He's not a clinical striker. We need a clinical striker. Should be one of our top priorities, besides fixing our midfield that's been broken for 3-4 seasons.
And it's been well touted out there to maybe Gabriel Jesus. Who wants to go next on the striking position?
Can I go?
Yeah, go.
All right. So like I was saying before, I think one thing I would like to have seen was Emil Rowe did a better job, and I think Tony was right as far as him having COVID kind of delayed his playing minutes and his fatigue caught up to him. But I think
Odegaard as well too. He wasn't the same after COVID either.
Right, but at least he was better.
Yeah.
Afterwards, and tried his best to make up for that. But with that said, I think our wingers, they're very young too, made up for a lot of the striking we missed. And I think what we talked about earlier in the season with Lacazette linking up with Saka and Memphis Rowe kind of hurt even more whenever he didn't score, because they got a lot of assists out of it as well. Like Martinelli assisted as well as Bukayo Saka, and they had a lot of goal per assist as well. So not having a proper structure until Eddie and Nketiah came along hurt their play a little bit and hurt their development. But yeah, I think with Gabriel Martinelli, I think he dribbles too much, and I think that also hurts. And not having not having a good enough midfield to help him out as far as the left side goes. But other than that, I think the sky's high for our wingers, our youngsters, and like how Arteta managed, Lacazette, he held on to him for too long, and you could say, well, what if he brought in Nketiah earlier on? Where Nketiah helped out more often than not. So I think Nketiah has a lot of promise, and I would like to have seen him more. I'm looking forward to seeing him get used more to see what he does. I think he'll do a better job with more playing time.
I think there's just a few connections that are missing. We get a decent striker, like you say, Alonso, can get on the end of those. The interplay with Saka, Martinelli, a lot more things can connect up, and the striker can get on the end of moves and finish things off. Gabriel Jesus coming in, we get some decent midfielders in there. I think things could really take off. Between Gary and Stan, who wants to go next on the striker position?
I'll go quickly because I want to go for we. And when I'm looking this way, and my missus is looking at me through the window, so I wasn't looking at Alonso. It's actually a mirror image.
You weren't trying to like.
It would actually be that way, but it looks like I was. My missus was distracting me through the window. That's why I was poking my tongue out. But for me,
perfectly lined up to Alonso's ear.
His ear. But for me, right?
I thought we were not that kind of show.
Yeah, it wasn't. I just wanted to straighten that out. I wasn't trying to whisper sweet nothings into Alonso's ear, right? But sorry, Alonso, mate. Next time. But
they're leaning close to each other.
I know. Where was just going? But
Strikers, Dad, strikers.
so for me, right, I think that the reason that we kind of missed out on the top four by a couple of points was that we were humping along like a car, you know, that needs an oil change all season because we never really had anything up front. Why did we not have anything up front? It's because our captain and quality striker decided that he didn't want to play for us really anymore after he got given a big contract. I don't think it's because Mikel Arteta got rid of Aubameyang. I don't believe that Mikel Arteta had been sitting there just waiting with his finger hovering over the eject button, saying as soon as you make a false move, you're gone. He wanted him to stay because he knew what the bigger prize was. Aubameyang made his position untenable. And I think it was a brave and big decision that Mikel Arteta made to have to do that because he was thinking of the greater good of the team. That's why I believe we missed out by a couple of points because we just haven't had a striker that we can depend on. Now, as for Eddie, if Eddie's getting that new contract, I don't mind that as long as both Aubameyang and Lacazette are replaced. We can't bring in one striker because we had a complement of Balogun, Nketiah, and another two. That should not change. We need to bring in another two strikers. Whether one of those strikers goes behind Eddie and in between Balogun is another conversation, or whether one of those strikers is, you know, ahead of Eddie, like the similar pecking order. But we still need to have that number, especially as we're going into more games, more competitions next season.
Yeah.
Always
Sample shout out for Pepe. You would think the player with the most assists in the previous season would be selected this season, but apparently not, even though creating chance for the forwards is a major factor in scoring goals. Gary, there's a lot to digest there, Gary.
Yeah, no, as far as striker goes, yeah, I mean, like you said, we'd lost two strikers, and Balogun isn't coming back, so we need two strikers or two forwards or whatever you want to call them, right? All right, so strikers are gone, right? There's not how many strikers are there in the world right now?
Right.
Not that many, right? I mean, there's not that many strikers in the league. You know, the Haaland, right, fits the bill. Lewandowski fits the bill. Cristiano fits the bill. But like, how many
available ones?
There's not that. What I mean, and then then on top of that, are they available? You know, can you afford them? And then are they available? There's not that many. Right, so
the list narrows, right?
So we need more attacking players wherever you want to put them, in the middle, on the sides, you know, coming through, you know, inverted. It doesn't really matter. Just give me more, because we need more of that, right? We need to be able to rotate the players. They need to bring something different. So for me, that's why we're always talking about we need two strikers. We need two forwards, I guess, is really the answer to that question. You know, Jesus gives us one. We need another one. All right.
Nice thing about Jesus, Gary, is that, like you say, he's not just, you know, centrally stuck in that position. He can still play with somebody else, right? He can play with Eddie or whoever comes in.
How many games have we seen where Saka's on the left, next thing you know he's on the right, and you're like, we're not missing anything by him moving around. The teams don't know what to do when they switch places. Guess what? You know, that's got to be better for us, right? So we just need more of that. If that's what we're gonna, if that's the kind of makeup that we need. There's not strikers. I guess strikers just isn't really. We say strikers, but we really mean forwards, right? So give us more forwards that can play there. You know, if they can play up the middle once in a while, cool. But just give us more, right? Either they're injured, right? DCL is more of an injured. He's always injured, so he's not going to give it to you for 30 games a season right now. But give me more. I think Eddie once again is where Arsenal is trying to manage the value of their players, but they keep managing on players that they don't need. They could find. I think they could find another player at the level of Nketiah. I think they can. It might cost them the same amount of money, and that's probably why they did it. But in real, like he has to know he is not the number one player on the squad, right? 500 strikers, yeah, right, whatever. There's no such thing. Yeah,
Hey,
but they're gonna
hey
need to
Gary.
spend some money. They're gonna need to spend some money on that player.
Tony's done a quick tabulation. I see Tony's done a quick tabulation.
He's got the calculator right.
But
But
I
it's
think
500 on the nose, Tony.
You know what that is?
He's missing a decimal point. It's supposed to be one over from the 5. That's what's going on there. So that's why
That is 20. That is
So
20 players linked every week with Arsenal for the next year.
No, he
all
said
of
how
those
many
500
strikers
have been linked
were
with us.
around. How many were linked to?
Hey Gary. So you don't
500
see
available
Bellingham.
strikers.
You don't see a future for Bellingham at Arsenal.
no, I don't think. I think he not the way we are playing right now. If we had like solid players in front of him right now, I would say, yeah, you might want to bring him in. He'll be the third string. But right now, he needs to go out and play. He needs to play more. We probably need to be in the same situation as we are with Saliba, in the sense that he goes out, he plays on loan for a full year. Like this year, he went out. Did he go out for a full year? I can't remember.
Yeah,
Right. I don't think he did. Did he go out
Yeah.
for a full year?
He did.
Yeah, but he didn't get enough
Those are
playing
rough
time,
ones.
right? And that's kind of where Saliba was the second time he went out, right? He didn't get a full year or whatever. He needs to get a full year where the team loves him, wants him to play, comes back, and then we're good to go. All right. That's
The thing
where
about
we need to be with him.
I like
And-
Ivan Toney as well. Why not?
Yeah.
The thing about
Okay.
Christopher Nkunku is, though, he's more of a
Midfielder,
somebody
right?
that would be sort of like in competition with Odegaard.
Yeah.
Which wouldn't be a bad thing. However, I think at the moment, for where we are, I think if Odegaard's not available, I think Emil Smith-Rowe can slot nicely into that place as well. So,
Okay. Any final thoughts on the squad that was before we put like the final touches to what we had last season?
Yeah.
I called it steady on spectacular growth. We gained a few points. We got a few extra positions in the league. We finished in 5th place, and there's a lot to be hopeful for that we can, if we can go out in the summer and get a couple of positions filled, bring in some better depth. Hope you get Jesus. He is quality. You think you could get Dybala? No,
No,
not
we need to,
Dybala.
that Jesus thing should have been done already, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there's
he said he didn't want to say anything until after Tuesday because I think he's got some kind of South American, Brazilian thing going on. Or some
They're
international
playing
thing.
games.
Yeah, he
You
said
know,
something
so I'm
Tuesday
hoping
instead of
that
speak.
that means that he's just gonna put on the red shirt and we move on, and then we get some more friends for him up top, and we get some more friends for him right behind him. So when he looks back, he sees somebody better than what what we see right now, and then he looks
There
out
is-
wide, and there's better players come in there as well. So
And there is decent players around them that's going to create opportunities for Jesus. He will get
I
up-
said I want more. I want more.
You always want more, Gary.
Exactly. I'm
Always.
gonna keep wanting more.
You're very high.
What's going to be so
Always
interesting
want
about
more.
this
Gary moved from a
transfer?
beer to a coconut water.
What's going to be so
Brad?
interesting about this transfer window is that we know that we got the dough. We've got around about 150 to 180 that we're being given, and that's not including what we'll get with money coming in. So, and we know that we're going to have plenty available for wages because we've shifted some of our higher wages people off with more to come. So the financial part of it is not a problem. It's now really down to Mikel Arteta, Adu, and the pull of Arsenal and the current project.
Mhm.
That's what it's all down to. The owners have done their bit. They can go off onto their yacht now and drink martinis because they've written the check.
And
How's it all going to be?
friends.
Exactly. How's it going to be spent now? That's down to the owners can't spend the money. That's down to Edu, Arteta, shortlist, plan Bs. You know, if we're going into the pre-season, you know, in America and that, and we still haven't brought anybody in other than Matt Turner and Austin Trusty, then you got to ask questions. Because as far as I'm concerned, the one benefit of Mikel Arteta getting his contract early means that allows him to start making phone calls early, because it's like, the one thing you don't have to worry about is, if you like me, I'll be here. I'll be here. So there shouldn't be no dragging the feet. The money's in place.
Yeah, just think about it. I think I was going to put something out a while back, a couple days ago, but we were 66 days until August 6th. Now we're probably 64 days, all right? That's 2 months. It's going to go really fast. We've got, this time a month from now we'll be going to America, to play 3 games. I understand it sounds like a short amount of time. It sounds like a lot of time, but players are going to go on vacation for 2 to 3 weeks. So there's not a lot of time, right? They've got the UEFA Nationals going on right now. That takes time. Then players are going to go on vacation, going to come back, and some aren't going to play because they're going to be on vacation, or they won't even go to US, right? So for me,
sounds like some South American shit's going on as well, right? Does that mean our Gabriels are out there?
Yeah, that's where
We
he's
just
playing right
signed
now.
someone.
That's where he's playing right now. We didn't sign anybody.
Every time you hear that tone from Alonso's phone, we just signed somebody. So
Yeah,
Oh, is it? I thought it was Tony. I thought it was Tony's OnlyFans.
it's fake news. That's what that is. No, but think about it. We've got a month from now. I would like us to already have
His chatterbait
our core players in place, right? Jesus and another guy next to him or behind him or whatever.
Yeah.
So
Used to be
the
for
time's going to go really
now
fast. We
it's
keep saying we have enough
chatterbait
time.
stand.
The window hasn't opened yet. Blah 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 blah. Guess what? We don't have that much time.
No, time is ticking. Gary feels it all the time. Football fan, GGMU, as a United fan, Arsenal seemed solid until you got injuries and lost a couple of attackers a few months ago. An athletic, experienced ball winner in the middle would have given you more bite, or an adequate Partey replacement plus a couple of more durable fullbacks would have helped us as well.
And thanks for coming in, by the way. I've not seen a football fan
Yeah,
GGMU
absolutely.
in before, so thanks for dropping in, mate.
The problem for any
MU,
player,
the MU stands for Man United, right?
Glory, Man United.
Mm.
The problem for any player, Arsenal, and he'll be hoping Ten Hag can do things next season.
Well, I say a
innit?
manager, a manager is going to get you extra points. All right.
Yeah.
That guy has to get you extra points, regardless of whatever you do in the market.
We are.
I kind of feel sorry a little bit for Wreck-It Ralph, because, he was never gonna, his remit wasn't to come in as a Manchester United manager. He was supposed to be doing a similar job to Edu,
Yeah.
overseeing that, and then he's been put into the fiery furnace, and he's doing a job which really is a little bit out of his scope. And then I just kind of felt he was that he hung out to dry a little bit there.
We've seen this before. Freddie got the same situation happen to Freddie.
Yeah.
Why not have just kept Carrick in there? Bring him in. Bring in Ralph as the
Clearly-
role to do, and continue with Carrick till the end of the season, and do a transition that way.
Clearly, Ten Hag did not want Ralph to be there, and he wanted to.
Well, who would, after seeing what he did as a manager?
Yeah.
He's not left a good impression of. That's what I mean.
No.
Because
No.
he's gone in there
The
and
whole
done a job that
club
was
went
out of his
very
scope. He's left himself in a bad light. So if a new manager's going to come in, you're going to say, "Well, that guy's got to go." Otherwise, he's still haunting the place, right?
Yeah.
Had he not just gone into his role straight away, and they left with, they carried on with Carrick, and then at least Ralph would have been judged on the job that he's supposed to be able to do, right? Not doing a job that's not really the one that he went in for and is out of his scope. He's not managed in how long? He's a technical director, football director,
I mean, that's
general
like
manager.
putting a player on the pitch, putting them out of position, and then complaining that they're not getting the job done. All right, and then you let them go, and then they go play
Hung
the
him out
position
to
they're
dry.
supposed to, and then they play it well, and you're like, why weren't they playing good for us? Well, because you asked them to do something they can't, and they're not skilled at. That's not their skill set. So.
That was like the Cronkies not appointing Mikel Arteta yet because of some technical reason, and they stuck in Edu as our manager. Do you know what I'm getting at? It would be the same thing. If it all goes to pot, He can't. Eddie's been hung out. Would have been hung out to dry, and then he can't then continue into the job that he done because he's left a stench behind him. Kind of feel a bit for Ralph. Not his fault.
Well, you know, he didn't do a great job either. At the end of the
That's
day,
not his job, though. You ask the man to do something he's not supposed. That's not what he came in to do. It isn't really. That's not what everybody was touting him as coming in to manage the football squad, not manage the team on the squad. Manage the players coming in and out of the squad, not manage them on the pitch. Right? That's not what they were bringing him in. Like, there's nothing that I recall everybody saying, "All right, I can't wait for him to run this squad on the pitch." That's not what they were saying, right? They were saying when he's going to get the players he's going to bring the players that they need, and when they get a proper manager, that was always the way it was phrased, right?
Yeah.
And then they did then they screwed him over, right?
Ralph
So
was
is Ralph not that good of a director of football or whatever you call it?
We never know, will we?
Right. Well, but coming like that, isn't that what his CV says?
Yeah,
a
that's
really
what it's
good
supposed to be.
director of football.
And look,
It's
a
probably
lot of
damaged his
the
reputation moving forward now, because the next time he goes in front of someone from a job, you just get to remember the last thing, innit? Oh yeah, Man United, everyone laughing at him, the gifs, the memes. Do we really
a lot
want
of
that?
these managers now that are really big in the world of football, Klopp, Tuchel, they all came under Ralph's tutelage, and Ralph
And
was supposed
can
to
I
be
just
the
answer?
founder.
But you said under, right? That means they weren't were they assistants on the bench with him, or was he up in the box seats?
They
And they were looking
learned their trade under him.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, was he their man? Was he their manager and they were his assistants? Is that what you're saying, or was he the guy up in the box seats with the owners talking?
I don't know. We can check that out.
Can I just
How can you bring that up and then say, what point are you making then if you don't know that answer? How does that work?
Go Google it.
No, you just said he
looked.
You said he had all these players looking. These managers. You said he had all these managers looking.
You
up
want
to
the
him,
truth?
and
You
I
can't
asked
handle
you,
the truth.
how are they looking up to him? You tell me I don't know.
I'm
You're
telling
talking bollocks, right? You're talking
I'm
nonsense.
not talking
then.
about. I'm telling you what happened. I don't know how it happened. You go and find out.
Can I have a recap of what I missed? Stan, give me a quick recap.
Maybe Tony could tell
Oh, here we go.
So Tony, I said
I just want
Klopp, Tuchel, they all came as a result of Ralph Ragnick.
Yeah.
Gary wants to know the nuts and bolts, A to Z, how that
say
happened.
one thing, right? Because why not said earlier that Emery, he got fired, even though he finished in a better position than Arteta. And my answer to that is, it's untenable to keep a manager where you've got the players that do parodies of him behind his back. You got the media ostracizing him. You got all the fans taking the piss out of him with the good evenings. If you're the manager looking at that going forward, and you've just bought a football club and bought all of the shares up, and you're looking at your manager who's been lampooned by everyone lampooned Emery, you got to make a change. It's as simple as that. And I was part of that lampoon. Did I ever say good evening? I said it once or twice. So that means I'm part of the problem. I'm holding my hands up, right? I'm holding my hands up. The guy was lampooned and laughed out of the country. As simple as that. Untenable. If you're the manager that's invested in that, you're like, no one's taking him seriously. This ain't no good. I've got to get someone else in. That's the answer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gary, to answer your question, I'm not going to say something that is factually incorrect, but I do know that is the case. I don't know the nuts and bolts of it.
What was
A
his
to Z.
role?
I don't know the nuts and bolts of it. A to Z.
Then it's not factually correct if you can't even.
It is factually correct.
Yeah, but what was he doing? Was he their manager?
I don't know.
So then how can you say it's correct then if you don't even know? You just said I don't know. So then
we take over where the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard case finishes. If you've lost your fix, come here. This is happening. Continue.
I know what I'm talking about, but I don't know.
Who's bed first?
Gary, we're running way over, Gary. So
who's shitting in whose bed first?
Let's keep this nice and concise, Gary. Okay.
Yeah.
The last part of the show here. Good season for Arsenal next year. Any one of these four. Top 4, Europa League win, a Carabao or a FA Cup win. Is that a good season for Arsenal next season?
If we're not in,
If we check any of these boxes, is that a good season?
no, because we have to be in Champions League. So no.
Isn't being in top 4 or Champions
Yeah,
Well,
League?
you just said any of the 4, and that's not. I'm
Yes.
saying no. You have to be in Champions League, and which is not Carabao Cup, right?
Isn't top
And
4?
not FA Cup,
Isn't,
right?
no, isn't
You
top
said
4?
any of the 4, and I'm saying no. It has to end in Champions League. That's it, and that's only 2 of the 4.
Okay.
How
So
far is that, Gary?
if we win the Carabao Cup, you're not
Look at
happy.
Gary's coconut
No.
water.
If we win the FA Cup, you're not happy
No.
with a trophy.
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
2 out of
This
4
is to
for
me.
Gary.
This
What
is
about if we
this
win
is-
the FA Cup
we-
and we qualify in 4th?
No, we have to have Champions League at the end of the day.
What about if we win the FA Cup and we qualify again for the Europa League? No?
We have to have Champions League,
You know what? I was just
or
asking, right? Don't start staring
because
it up with a
we
cheeky
need
smile.
to be moving. We need to be
Champions
moving.
League or bust, damn it.
I was just
Stan.
asking.
Yeah,
And
no, I think-
apparently, it's Champions League or bust.
Hey,
Listen.
it's top. You guys, you're saying top 4, right? Everybody's saying at least top 4 or Champions League, right?
So
If it's not
okay.
top 4, then you're winning the Europa League, right?
Oh,
That's what people are saying.
I'll be quick. I'll tell you mine. It's very quick. I want us to win the Europa League, but finish in 4th place as well. You know, I want to win the Europa League so that these
Okay.
young players
I don't
taste
think we can do
winning
both,
this
Stan.
together.
I wish we
They're
could.
hungry for the Champions League, but I also want to not qualify because of the cup. Also, do enough in the league to qualify proper in the minimum of 4th, because I think that would be improvement, vast improvement to win a European Cup and finish a space higher and be in a Champions League proper. Oh,
So we have
Happy
to check
days.
2 boxes for Stan.
So
that's
yeah,
it.
win the Europa League final and get top 4. And you know what? That would help as well. This whole question of for Arsenal fans: will we go for the league or will we go to win the Europa League? You know, are we going for top 4? We're going to get into April or May next year, and we're going to be talking about this. Should we go
gotta go
for
for
the Europa
both.
League? Or yeah, I know. It's never that crystal clear though. And Gary, here's clarification on what I told you. Thank you, Why Not, for checking that out. Now Gary can finish the podcast with a smile, and he knows how this happened.
No, but I asked you. You got your buddies to help you out. All right.
There's
You
plenty of things you don't
couldn't
know.
quantify it, so you. So
Ralph
what's
has
the
a
point?
good
Raised-
football
Raised
mind.
disciples.
I know he's
No,
got
it's
raised
plenty
up
of
like
things you
friends
don't
in the
know.
business.
It's
and
like a
stuff,
cult.
but
No, Gary.
I'll read it out to you, Gary, because I'm being
I don't-
nice to you.
I don't need you to read it out.
It's like
to me.
Ozil and his cult.
Why not? Why not?
Why not? Thank you very much for the
Thanks,
information.
why not?
You helped out Ray.
Speaking of Ozil, leopards don't change their spots, but continue.
You know, why not has been pretty good this for the last long time. So really appreciate you.
apparently they
Tony,
pushed him over the edge. Apparently they're turning up in a straitjacket to take him away.
the depth to the depth to the depth. Tony, what boxes? Can you check any of these boxes, or are you going to be like Gary?
We need to be competing for the league.
Ooh, wait.
We need to be competitive in Europa, but bottom line, we have to qualify for Champions League.
Okay, so you're like
That
Gary.
has to happen.
If we win the Carabao Cup or an FA Cup, is that not a successful season?
Ray, what have we built on the last 5 fucking FA Cups? Not a damn thing. They're just trophies in the cabinet at this point. We haven't built on it. We
All
haven't
right.
went on
Okay.
Champions League. Since
It's funny, and it's like, listen. It's funny. Sometimes I
the
listen
last
to this.
4 FA
Right? I
Cups,
listen
we
to this and I
haven't
think
been
to
in
myself,
Champions League since we
we're
won.
here talking about a club, right, that has the fucking record of FA Cup wins in England. One of the most prestigious cups, right? Was it 14 times now that we've won it?
14,
There are people
yes.
out there, right, that have people out there that from the day they were born and their dad bought them their fucking little pajamas with their kit on it and said, you support this team, and probably my age, and never seen their team win anything. Nothing.
Yeah.
Not once. Nothing. We've won the FA Cup 14 times. And we talk about Arsenal sometimes like we should be like fucking being given this crown and a throne and be crowned kings of football. It doesn't work like that, man. So when I hear people say things like, "Well, if we win, if we finished fourth and only won a Carabao Cup, that's not progress," I'm like, "Are you having a laugh?" Do you know what a day out to Wembley means to some people? And it's not necessarily even travelling to Wembley. It's being able to sit at home, watching it on TV, and having that anticipation that your team's going to win a cup. We've won the FA Cup 14 times.
Yeah,
And I'm not saying that we shouldn't try to win it a 15th time, but we should also try not to be so like I don't know, giving and like it's an acceptance and it's a rite of passage. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that my dream is to win the Europa League, win it and finish fourth. There are other people out there. You say, "What's your dream?" And I say, "Well, we don't want to get relegated, or it'd be nice if we could finish mid-table and not be a relegation fighting team." That's what some fans have all their lives. So it's not as dark and as glib as it seems.
Football fan GGMU, we may meet you in the Europa League at some point in time. Arsenal needs a European Cup. That's what it's missing in the cabinet. This is Arsenal. We do both. We chase the league and cups. Arteta is inept. And listen, Gary, we got to be shooting for top four and doing well in cup competitions as well. What is Arteta missing in his coaching of Arsenal?
What is he missing?
Better players.
What I would say,
better players.
he's not learning from it. He's not learning from his mistakes. I mean, he keeps going down the same well too many times.
Winning auctions or something.
And you know what? He doesn't take what the teams. He doesn't want to take what the teams give him. All right. I mean, he's so pigeonholed into what he wants to do that he never takes advantage of what the teams are actually out there, and that's part of coaching, right? So for me, that's what he's got to learn. And that's if you know a play, if you're an offensive player and you know that guy, once you move and you put the ball on your left foot, you've got him. Guess what? You keep doing. You put it on your left foot, and then you got him, right? I don't think Arteta does that because he's like, you know what? I know you're much better on your right, and it's like, no, that's not the problem. That's you have to make the changes there. So I think that's what he needs to learn is to take advantage of what these other teams give him. Like we keep complaining about, well, they're going to pay a low block on us, so we're not going to be able to punish them. Well, you got to have answers for those things. All managers do. So yeah, learn from your mistakes and take what the defense gives you. There are holes in everything, right? If you're not taking advantage of it, then that's on you.
Listen, it's been a long one tonight. I'm going to ask Alonso this question and we'll get out of here. Same question I asked the other three lads here, Alonso. What is a good season for you next year? Arsenal getting in the top four, a Europa League win, a Carabao or FA Cup win. Which one would you check off?
I would say
is that all of the criteria that would be a good season for you?
The top four, obviously. But though we need to solidify ourselves as being winners. So, the most prestigious one, in my opinion, is the FA Cup. I think it shows that we still have a winning stature, I guess, a winning history, and then go from there. I think we should build off on that. So I think at this point we should also build off of top five, and then move from there. I think top four is manageable. I think Spurs are always ball it. I think they are where we should be now, and we could even jump Chelsea as well. And winning Europa League should be a goal of ours. And Carabao Cup, it's just a cup. I think if we win it, great. If we advance farther, then great. But right now, our expectations should always be FA Cup and top four.
Yeah, for sure. We will see. There's going to be a long summer till we get our acquisitions in the door. Stephen said Arteta's game management is pathetic. He has deficiencies in his people skills. That's the thing that Arteta needs to develop, his man management skills. Stan, you got something quick to add, or
No, that's when he said, sorry, when he said, Stephen said his management skills. I thought, did he say that really? Yeah, I know. A lot of people, look, he's not going anywhere, right? Ain't going anywhere. The manager's not going anywhere, right? So we have to just like
so
try and get behind the team. And I can understand if you're not happy with the manager, but isn't it fair to say that you can only say, let's hope next season that he improves, because he's not going anywhere. You're not going to get your wish. You're not going to wake up and they've changed him. So isn't it fair to say, I really hope he improves and he gets the best out of the team? I'm not saying that.
way.
I never said that Nicola Arteta was the manager that I wanted. I never said that.
Yeah.
But you know,
Get behind them.
It is what it is. And now we're going to see. This is a big test this summer for me. You know, the scales have been reset again. They rebalance. They recalibrate to 50-50 again. And it all starts again to see how he spends this money that's being given to him. And I know that it's not coming out of the Kroenke's pocket and it's coming out of Arsenal, blah, blah, blah. But whatever. 150 to 180 million is a nice chunk of change, considering he's spent over 200 million already. So I really, you know, let's see what happens. If he does another Willian again, then we've got to start asking questions.
Yeah. Thanks for joining, Stan, Alonso, Tony, Gary. On Sunday, we're going to unpack the predictions podcast from way back in September. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of there. And
I was right.
You were always right. We hit 3 hours, Tony. We did.
Yep.
Tony's like, what day is it?
Just now.
Just now.
I got
Thanks.
needles in my eyes again yesterday, Stan. I'm having a hard time seeing.
Thanks for watching, everybody. We're out of here.
Yesterday.
And thanks for joining, everybody. There's been a lot of people in here.
Thank you, man. Thanks for
I
coming
would
in,
have
everyone.
thought people would have switched off a little bit, but there was people in here tonight. It was great to see you. And take care, everybody. We'll see you on the next one.
They stayed because they could smell my aftershave.